It's amazing how when you really put your hard work into something, things will come your way. You could really do anything. We used to think our parents had all the answers. We didn't know shit. This is just regular people out here doing regular shit. We're just out here winging it.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to episode 52 of Ruse Radio. We are back at it again with a very special guest. Special guest, could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Sparrow. I'm an artist out of the east side of Flint, Michigan. Very known for doing online content, music. Music's definitely the main thing, but I'm just a chill, cool guy who's ready to get this podcast going.
All right. Now, Sparrow, how does that name come about?
Actually, I don't think a lot of people have asked me this one. It's gonna just like a little warning. It's gonna touch like a not so glad moment of my life. Like when I was 16, I had lost like a really, really close friend, and beforehand we had been like looking on like Facebook on like what would your Indian name be or something just like weird like that, you know, just like those weird little games you play and then it comes out with a random name. And he had gotten Wild Wind and I had gotten Sparrow. And we always called each other by our first names, and we were like it would be cool to have like a nickname, you know what I mean? Especially like if we would rather say something different, you know? And he was like, well, I was like, I started calling him Wild Wind, and he started calling me Sparrow, and like I kept that name just like close to me, because especially after he had passed, and it wasn't very long after that he did actually pass. So it was like something that I just kept like really inside and like meaningful, you know, and just I just stuck with it.
Yeah, I saw on an interview that you had a chain that you were wearing right after somebody passed away, and you said in the interview that you like to memorialize people in that way, like keep them with you, like that. So it's almost like that is your name. You're memorializing somebody. I
just feel like the way that I view things, I want to be remembered when I pass, so I don't want them to be forgotten. And it's not that they would be forgotten, it's just that I feel as if I could take them with me to do many things that they wouldn't have gotten to do, and I can keep them alive with me, you know what I mean? Like, and still in my presence, you know?
Yeah. It's almost as if they haven't left in that way. Yeah. That's important. I think that a lot of people look at death as an ending, whereas it's almost like a new beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you look at it as a rebirth, it kind of gives it a positive perspective, which, you know, death is one of those things that I don't think anybody has the real answer to. So we all have our own ways of figuring that out. I like that, man. I like that. I think it's an honorable thing to do as well, you know, because like I said, a lot of people, they just kind of, oh, that's sad, they're gone. Yeah. But it's like, you want to keep them alive.
For sure,
And that's what they would want. If you ask me, it's what you would want. Mm-hmm. It's what I would want. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people want to get popular. They want to get followers. They want to get, it's such an attractive idea simply because it's like, what is the purpose of life if people do not respond to what I do?
You're kind of trying to make your own purpose in a way. You know what I mean? Like it might not work out initially, but as you keep going, something might work out. You know what I mean? And then you found your purpose. You know, you found something you love doing, or you know.
And in the end, like the purpose is the life itself. I feel like when people are dying, they think, what did I do? Was my life enough? Or you find out you're going to die in a month, it's like, oh, well, I want to do all these things before I die. I think in the end, it's like the journey itself. I think, I saw a really good quote. I wish I could remember it. I wish I could. If I figure it out, I will say it. But it's similar to that. It's about that, you know, you are what you are today. And that's not the quote, but that's the idea. It's like what you did today is your life. Mm-hmm. It's not like a futuristic thing, like you're thinking a year or two from now, what am I going to be doing? Or, I'm going to stop this later, this bad behavior that I do. Oh, I smoke and I hate smoking. Oh, I drink and I hate drinking. It's like that is who you are, though. Mm-hmm. Unless you choose to change it, that is literally what your life is. And that's what it always will be until you make the difference. Mm-hmm. It's important.
100%. Yeah. Very, very important.
People, I preach on here. And then, okay. How long have you been making music?
I mean, like, man, I remember I wrote like my first song. I think it was about like Hot Wheels or something just really little kiddish.
How old were you?
I think I was like, I want to say like 10 or 11.
Oh boy.
I love cars. That's like a really big thing. And I was just thinking like, maybe I'll write like a song about cars. And like, I had gotten like a lot of inspiration from my uncle, Joey Koff. At the time, his name was
You're
Jabberjaw.
related to Joey Koff.
Yeah. Oh. he had a different alias back then, though. I think it was Jabberjaw. And like, I remember listening to his music. I was very, very young, and I was like, man, like, this is really good. Like, this is pretty damn good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anybody else around me that like can make music or that has any type of talent. They're all just regular people. You know what I mean? They're doing regular shit. I don't really want to be a regular person, and he's very entertaining. Like, his music is good. I remembered like I memorized his like whole entire album lyrics and all, like when I was young. And then so then like that gave me like the courage. I was like, okay, I'm gonna write like just something off the wall. You know, I was like 10 or 11, but really that's when I actually like started to do some sort of music, was like 10 or 11. It's a really like hazy and fadey memory like around that age, but yeah, I'm believing 10 or 11 for sure.
Yeah, it really helps to have people that, especially around you, like in front of your face, rather than the guy on the TV screen or the guy on your cell phone. Like, to have somebody that you see in real life that is capable of accomplishing that, I think really makes the difference for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Like role models. It's really just having a role model.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. It really
Joey's
is.
a great rapper, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he must have always been that on point.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you thought that back then.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, I mean, I think his content is so... he has a very... It's like he's so good at setting up punches. It's almost like he's a veteran rapper in his mind. Like, it's kind of incredible to watch, to listen to the way he assembles a verse, because he's so good at hitting all of these points. Like, it never feels like he says anything filler, and like I respect that type of writing so much.
He, at least I believe so. I think that his main like type of music, like back then, like back when he had when I listened to the album, was like battle rap. Like, he was... That was
Jabberjaw, I believe. That was where the name comes from.
He was a monster. Like, he couldn't be fucked with. You know what I mean? Like, I look back at some of his battles, like back when I was a little bit younger, and I'm like, damn, like, this motherfucker's good. This motherfucker's real good. Like, he's...
Well, and battle rap's a whole different animal, too, because
for sure.
You're not only, like, you might have some written material, but you can't pull it out of your pocket or nothing like that.
Yeah,
and there's all this pressure. Mm-hmm. There's only one time to get it right.
Especially if, like, they bring up something that you just absolutely have to hit on, like, in the middle of a battle. You're like, damn, like, all right, now I got to figure out a whole, you know, like, it's...
That's why the final scene of 8 Mile works so well.
It's really, in my mind,
he was going to say.
It's really, in my mind, like a sport.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. You know, like, you're trying to battle the competition. You're trying to get that win. And I think
it's so
battle
different
rap,
than rap, too.
So different.
Like,
so different.
It's a live thing. In that moment, that's when you do it. And also, like you said, you have to respond to things in the moment, too. Like, there's a sportsmanship to that. There's a certain, like, improvisational skill that not everybody's gonna have. It's so different. You can sit there and perfect your song for 6 months, but you can't have the improvisational skill
being
unless
on
you
point
work on
immediately
it.
Is like,
yeah.
Okay.
I just wonder, like, because for me, that scares me. Like, I would get myself embarrassed doing that. I know I would. When I see people like battle rap in a way where they are like completely coherent. It feels like they are rapping. Like, it doesn't even feel like they're in a battle rap. It feels like they're just spitting bars. Like, it's why
bars 24/7.
Super Hot Fire is so funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. I love them.
And there are battle rappers that do rap like him unironically. That's the other funny part. Is he's just playing a real person. Like, those guys exist. I've seen them. Joey's amazing, and all this stuff, I believe, is documented, right? Like, you can go and find. Is it on YouTube? Just type in Jabberjaw battle rap.
I'm almost positive. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know if you remember. I think it was in like 2014. The year could be wrong, but like the Fly side thingies, or like there was like rap battles that they had going on. I think that's, at least from what I've found, the older stuff. I'm not sure if he has any of his like Jabberjaw stuff on YouTube. I'm pretty sure you could find it somewhere, though. Like, it's out there, you know what I mean? It's not... He definitely had it online at that time, like when he had dropped it, or he had dropped it online just a few years after.
Y'all just wait. Joey Koff's gonna blow up, and it'll be all over YouTube.
Oh yeah,
we'll be able to find it no problem. You're right though. Right now, it's probably like a lost piece of history. You probably gotta search deep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like you'll sit there on YouTube for 2 hours just to find 5 minutes of jabber jaw. But it's worth it though, because I mean, the only way you can learn too is from those types of people. Like I mean, you have to see it to believe it. You have to know it's possible.
Yep.
I mean, for me, I've never really had anybody like that in my life. I think it was mostly just people I heard in songs. It kind of like made me think, oh, like okay, so there's more to this than what I'm seeing. Like it made me realize that. For me, it was like kind of the inverse of you. It's like, oh, I have to create that because I don't see it anywhere. Like I see it only in some select few places. But I want it. Like that's the energy that I identify with. It's hard though to find it, and it's not the same for everybody. Somebody else is going to have a great time working under a car for 6 hours in their garage. That's going to be what they'll do, and that'll be their music, and that's cool. But you got to find it.
Yep, everybody's got to find their music for sure.
Find your music. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's inspirational. You said it better than I said it. What are some of your favorites of the songs you've made?
Man, that's really hard. I mean, there's like a lot of them that like are like when it comes to songs that are meant to be like, for me personally, the songs that I enjoy the most are like the storytelling type songs, like a song where it's like, you know, you start from the start and you go to the beginning and you're like, okay, that's like a piece of a story. So like in my opinion, I think like a song called Rico I had put out, and a song called The Story of Jimmy Rebel. That one's off of my newest album with 4am. That's my little cousin. He's a little bit younger than me. Every song on the Riley and Huey album, which that's what it's called, is Riley and Huey. It's supposed to be like giving props, giving flowers to the Boondocks TV show, because I relate with a lot of what had happened back then, and I always thought like, man, maybe I should make like a Boondocks inspired tape. And I had my little cousin with me, and I was like, man, we really act like these two, you know. So I took I took a lot of episode names from like the actual episodes.
There'd be a lot of songs.
Oh yeah, tons. But I took like just the 10 that I felt like would probably be the best, and I put them as song names, and then we would make a song around that idea. So like the first episode, I think, is called The Garden Party. You'll notice that there's a song called The Garden Party on there, like, and it's the first song of the album. Like, there's like weird, like little bloopers and everything in my albums. And I think in general, although the main two songs that I do like the most are Rico and The Story of Jimmy Rebel, but all of them are absolutely great. Like, they're straight bangers. You guys got to go check it out, like, for real.
As an artist myself, I will say that usually it's like every song you're writing in the moment's your favorite song.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's 100%. Hard to put the other ones down.
Yep.
Like, no, they're all good. They're all the best thing ever. But you like them for that reason, that they tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to write those types of songs, in my opinion. Like those are the truly challenging ones where you have to go from A to Z.
I think the hardest part about those type of songs for me, like I know what I want to say. You know what I mean? You know, like what you want to put into the song or the way that you're feeling right now, you know? But like, it's like, how do you say it? You know what I mean? That's still a catchy, witty, or, you know, bars. Like, you got to figure out a way to make it hit. You know what I mean? You don't want to just put anything on a paper. Like, even though it is a story, and I mean, you could write books if you want to do that, you know? This is they always said, like, when you're younger, rap is kind of like poetry. Rap is basically poetry. I'm like, this is poetry. You know, you want to put it into a way that's catchy for other individuals. When they listen to it, they understand it and they can feel it.
Yeah. I mean, I've always, when I write stuff, it's like I'm trying to sit in the middle somewhere. Like, I'm trying to find that spot where you can listen to it and have a whole different thing happen in your head than what happened in my head as I wrote
100%,
it.
100%.
That's where the magic happens.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to find that. And it's hard to do that consistently, and it's hard to do that in a way where, like, that magic stays there. Like, you want to say what you're saying, but you also want it to be interpretable. That's the hard part, especially if you're telling a straight-up story.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, there's no way that you're not being literal. Like, you're telling a story, but at the same time, you want them to be able to pull from it. I mean, Kendrick, he's incredible when it comes to that. He's somebody that comes to mind. Or there's that guy that wrote that song about the devil when you dance with the devil, Immortal Technique.
He's
really good at that
he's
too.
very, very good.
But
Immortal
it's like
Technique is great.
It's like everything you're saying is trying to strike that point. You're hammering it in, and also if you're telling a story, and it has a hook. So like, J. Cole, what's that J. Cole song about
great.
My First Time? That song is a perfect example of that.
J. Cole's definitely.
J. Cole in general, he's a great songwriter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, amazing. I honestly didn't know J. Cole like I thought J. Cole was like a newer like 2012 and up. Like I really did. Like that's really was like had what I've been thought. And then like I
think
go
that's
back.
when Forest Hills Drive came out.
Yeah. When I went back though, I'm like, damn, bro, he's been doing this for a minute and not on like a low level. Like he's up there. Like he's been doing it for a minute. Like, I'm like, damn, dude. Like it's crazy to see how far some people go. You know what I mean? Like, or from at one point where you think they're already famous, it's like, no, dude, they're kind of rarely known. Like they could be Kendrick Lamar, Forest Hill, or not Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Forest Hills. You know what I mean? Like they could be that. I mean that album. 100%,
it's like
10
what
out
you're
of 10.
saying. He was undervalued before that stuff came out. I mean, he was already popular, but he didn't have the name that he does now. Like people, you say J. Cole, it's like people put him next to Kendrick nowadays.
Yeah, they're
He's
hand
right
in hand.
there.
Yeah, literally. I literally think of him when I say J. Cole. It's crazy.
It's that collab tape. They're gonna keep teasing us with that forever.
no,
It's never gonna come out.
Oh man,
They did that one song. Where they rapped on each other's beats? Did you? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
That was awesome.
But they won't do it. They won't do it. It's sad because the world could use that. J. Cole and Kendrick are like beasts in their own right. Because that's why I think J. Cole's a great songwriter is J. Cole has this way of like he has song structure in his hip hop. Like a lot of hip hop is basic. A lot of hip hop is just verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, something like that. Maybe you have a pre-chorus in there. That type of stuff. It's almost like pop music. It feels very structurally the same. Whereas J. Cole, he'll switch his beat at the end of the song. He'll have like a bridge that's long as hell just to build to the hook, and that bridge only happens one time. He just does weird things in his music where it's like it feels like he's doing it on purpose. He's really thinking out how the song works. And not a lot of people do that. A lot of people just let their beat be what it is. It feels like he's involved in the process quite a bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, especially at that level, you kind of have to be. Because if you put out something that's really, like, critically looked at as just not good, then it's kind of like a, oh, man.
It's an L.
Yeah, it really is.
The kids nowadays, they would call that one an L.
An L?
Yeah. It's you got to take your L.
I feel old when I hear, like, just different phrases and stuff that I don't know what it is immediately. I'm like, what?
Do you regularly use TikTok? Because that's where I find most of them. The new ones?
Not now. At one point I did. At like one point I was really using TikTok as like a promotional tool and everything, but I just have my own like personal things that I don't really use TikTok as often. You know what I mean? I definitely still use it, just definitely nowhere near as often. But I definitely watch like all the videos and still scroll on it and
well, the reason I bring it up is when you're on TikTok, I'll see like it's almost like these things are generated faster than they used to be because nowadays like all the kids are on one app. So if somebody makes up a phrase, it'll be popularized within a week. Now all the kids are saying.
Yeah.
Whereas
man,
before
so
it had to spread throughout the United States.
Yeah, it had to spread. It was a good 6-month, 8-month conversion where people were like slowly people were starting to say it and then
they'd
it
be
just
like,
clicked.
oh, this slaps. That one took 5 years.
Yeah, facts.
Nowadays, Riz. Now the kids say Riz. I bet you haven't heard this one.
I have no idea what that means.
It took me a second to figure this one out. Can you guess? Can you guess what they'll say in the comments? They'll say, "Oh, he got that Riz." So can you guess what it means?
Like swag, like pep in his step. Like I don't know.
It's pretty close. It's sex appeal essentially. It's if a guy's really good at like pulling in chicks, if a guy knows how to swoon the girls, then he's got that Riz. That's kind of what it is. And it's like the kids shorten this idea into one word. It's kind of impressive, actually.
Oh my god!
It's like, and then they'll come up with funny phrases like, I don't know if I'm the first one to say this, but resonance. Like, he got that resonance. I think that's a good way to use it. But you got to get hip with the terms because if you rap with the terms, then the kids go, oh, Oh, that
he
eats.
knows what it is. What?
You're that one that eats. This
Yep.
eats. That one throws me off still. I'm like, what are you saying? Just say it slaps. Say something
say
else
it's
that
good,
sounds more
like-
natural. This doesn't eat anything.
This is not a human being or a thing that eats things.
But I can't blame them. Like, it's what we did. I think they don't even say swag no more. Now they have a whole new, they probably call that Riz. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord.
I sound old to them as I say
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I know.
That's
We
what's
sound
crazy.
old, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Like, we're already past it. YOLO's not cool anymore.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
What else is what else are some of our phrases? I can't think of any. We had some cool ones. Slaps, like I said.
Yeah,
Like this
slaps.
slaps. This bangs.
Bangs.
That's a cool one. Like this bangs. Because you got to think too. It's also like locational. Like they don't say those things in other countries.
Yeah, or in
ours.
even different like cities, bro. Like especially nowadays, like New York has a whole entire different accent than like Detroit or like Chicago.
I haven't thought about that. Like they have a different way of speaking, literally.
Like literally, yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy because they'll say different things. Like I heard, I have a bunch of friends that are from New York. They'll say like flodging. That means, yeah. That means like I guess it means like pump fake and like you're just bullshitting. You know what I mean? Like you're just you ain't. You know what I mean? Like
Flodging. Wow.
or they say like word to your mother. I think that just means like our facts. Like when we're like facts, you know, that facts. You know, no cap at all facts.
Word to your
Like,
mother.
Yeah, they say word to your mother. I'll fuck you up. You're like, whoa. Like, you're telling my mom you'll fuck me up? All right.
I like that.
It's definitely really cool. Different areas just have like different like lingos and like different things that they say. So I'm not sure if it was like that everywhere else when like we were growing up. Like I'm honestly not sure because we didn't really. I mean, I don't know. I can at least speak for me. We didn't really have computers as widely available and the internet as widely available back then. So like we didn't really know kind of what was going on in the world.
I think that's what I was saying about the spread, though. Like
Yeah.
nowadays, you have one thing that goes viral, and
it's-
everybody knows about it.
Everybody knows about it. Yep. Yep.
That just couldn't happen back then.
No.
It's a gift and a curse. It really is. Because at the same time, it's like so much BS just pops off within 2 minutes nowadays. You can't even get away from it. You can't get away. There was that VR rapper that was all over because he got signed.
Man.
That was
Oh,
news
man.
for about 4 days.
4 days,
That would
yeah.
have never happened in the old news cycle. Nobody
man.
would have even known about that dude. Nowadays, it's like you make a post and it goes viral and everybody's talking about it. That was at least amongst the hip hop community.
Yeah,
I don't know
that-
if the outsiders knew about
Dude,
this
man,
guy.
that VR rapper thing was absolutely crazy. I was thinking in my head like it's cool, like the idea is cool. You know what I mean? The idea is it's not like a bad idea, but like if you think about it, if he's actually making like real money, you know what I mean? It's not like that there's people behind him. It's that like there's so many rappers who could really use that money. You know what I mean? Even rappers who people think are famous, maybe they're in a rut. All they need is that little bit of whatever, and they're now, you know, Jay-Z, Beyonce, or you know what I mean? Like there's real human rappers here like that really put their time and effort into their music that could really use the money that you would have essentially gotten signing to a record label.
But would it not be a human rapper though? Because I think it's just a rapper under a different alias. I think that's truly what it is.
If you think about it, yeah, you're kind of right on that aspect too. That's why I'm kind of like, I was like a little bit like, I was like, man, but it's just, I don't know. I gotta stay with like the general rap community on it. You know what I mean? Like, especially like that's hurtful for rappers because if you think about it, then a bunch of people are just going to start to create AI rappers and stuff, and they won't predict or eject a real life that they're living. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you could make whatever music you want to, you know what I mean? But at least have the confidence to either show yourself or show some sort of art along that, you know? Like, I mean, there's people who do like the gorillas, how they have like their little people that they have as themselves, like that's pretty cool, you know? But like, they're still real artists, you know what I mean? They still like do their thing, you know? So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like there would be an influx of like rapper robot like AI things just making a bunch of money, then there really wouldn't be very much money for actual, like, for people who really put their time and their effort into it. I mean, it wouldn't happen initially. Of course, everybody would prefer like a real rapper who's really done certain things and really been in certain areas, and you know what I mean, or at least lived what he's currently talking about. You could be Jack Harlow, and as long as you're living what you're talking about, we don't care. You know what I mean? Jack Harlow's amazing because he's living what he's talking about. You know, he's just in there jumping, doing his thing, you know, partying, living life, and that's just like you hear, if you hear like a AI rapper talk about like some real life type of situations or stuff, it's like, wow, like.
But you aren't real
money.
life.
Yeah, you're not like the people behind you might be, but it's like you're making money, and it's like it's so hard to like understand and explain, because it could be like a 40-year-old guy behind this dude. He's never rapped in his entire life. He just puts like AI software in where it starts to make lyrics with words that he likes. You know what I mean? Like that's another thing that I've seen happening. You know, where people can make total songs just out of straight AI, and it's like. It's getting to like a slippery slope. I thankfully I don't feel like it will ever click. You know what I mean? Certain things will just never click. At least in my opinion. Don't quote me. This happens in like 10 years. A bunch of AI people. Don't quote me. You know, but like
don't come for him.
I don't think that it's ever really going to come to fruition. So it's not like that big of a worry in my mind. But I do. I you know, you do sit back and think about it. Like, damn. Like, there's like. Two people who have never rapped in their entire life making, let's just say, I don't even know what the deal was for or how much it was for at the time, but like, let's say $1 million. Like $1 million would help a lot of fucking people, you know, like it would do a lot of great things for like a local music scene, or even one person who just needs that one final push, or, you know, just anything. You
and
know,
you're saying it's almost like a gimmick that's gotten them that chance, in the sense that they did that knowing that would be a marketing thing, and it's pushing things in the wrong direction. Like that is turning us more into a gimmick than what we should be. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting way to look at it. Because I also think that in hip hop, like it's kind of why I get frustrated when I'll hear about artists that don't write their own shit.
Oh man,
like
same.
I get it, because you know, as music, like in music, that's okay.
Yeah.
But with hip-hop, it's almost a different animal, especially if you are a rapper.
Yeah,
if you are going in and you're doing this to represent yourself, you're talking shit. Like, to me, hip-hop, that's what makes it so great, is that it's a representative of the individual in a way that no other music can be.
Yeah.
Like, it's one person giving you this entire concept. You can almost trust that it's all them. And there's that story that you'll always hear about, like when Kendrick wrote with Eminem, and Kendrick locked Eminem in the room, or no, the other way around. Eminem locked Kendrick in the room for an hour just to make sure that Kendrick wrote his own shit. Mm-hmm. That's so cool to me. That's how hip hop works.
Yep.
So in that sense, to have people not representing themselves and instead representing an AI character, it's almost a tough battle with hip hop in particular, because it's like. That's not what hip hop's entirely about.
Yeah, that's not what it's like based on. You know what I mean? That's not like a majority of artists. At least in my opinion, a majority of artists actually put a little bit of themselves into the music. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe like the people behind these AI programs would do that. You know what I mean? Maybe they would just create themselves like a AI rapper that they like, you know, think is cool, and then just drop their own music behind it, which. I wouldn't like really hate that, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have like a bad idea around that. But there's something about like a live show with like a person there and like, you know what I mean?
A hologram.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's very, very hard to explain, but if you've been to a lot of shows, or even just a couple of them, you just know there's like magic in that. And I feel like they're being like metaverse rappers, like how would they would have to have like a hologram, right? Like wouldn't be like a real person that you could give a hug or handshake, or you know what I mean, get a real signed t-shirt from, or
well,
you know.
I wanted to say, when you were saying that thing about how like AI would never click, I think the same way, in the sense that it's just human nature for you to look at another human and identify with that.
Relate a lot more, you know what I mean? Just have a lot more relation.
Like that's like me. Oh, that's like me. And so naturally you're connecting with it in some way, where if it's an AI character, or if it's something that is literally not human, there's almost, I mean, that's where I think that's where the whole uncanny valley thing comes from too, where it's like something is so inhuman, but it's representing a human, that in your brain you just feel it to be true. Like you can't not feel it. It's instinctual. So yeah, there might be a small fan base for those things, but I think in the end, humans win. Because like you just said, I can't hug that.
Yeah, you know
I
what
can't
I mean.
shake his hand.
There's no like relationship, like a fan supporter artist relationship. You know what I mean? Or there might be, but only for streaming something. You know, you could do a show, but who's going to show up? They're going to see a hologram. They can't get like
the show's got to be online.
Yeah,
that's like
you know what I mean?
That's going to be how it would go. Is it would be
True,
a stream.
true.
For the most part, until we get holograms. I really think that's where the shift would happen, and then it'd be like,
for sure.
Now that's dystopia right there.
Yeah. That's,
you get
that's
100
different.
people to walk into a room to watch a hologram. That is
crazy. I mean, to each their own,
that
but
blows my mind.
that's crazy.
And we're not that far from it.
No, I know.
We've already done it with Tupac.
Technology is, dude, it's getting to a point where it's like, are they gonna stop doing stuff at this point? Because like, there's so much going on. Like, I think they had something to do. Like, I seen something somewhere. It didn't work 100%, but like a flying car, like where is that coming from? Where did a flying car come from? Like, oh my Lord, they got like amphibious vehicles. You just go on water and
Before I could only see those on Grand Theft Auto with a cheat code.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, wow, like what is going on? And then like the internet speeds nowadays are just ridiculous. You know what I mean? There used to be
what Elon's trying to get Starlink, which means you can get internet anywhere.
Starlink is crazy. That whole idea is awesome.
It is. I think that's actually a very forward way of thinking. Yeah. That's smart.
Internet in itself, like if you don't have internet in nowadays climate and nowadays economy, it's like a hindrance. Like really, there's less money that could be made. There's less interaction and communication that's typically made. Like you kind of need internet. You know what I mean? You need to be able to connect to the internet, and it'll bring a lot of. At least in my opinion, it'll bring really good or decent internet connection to like areas who don't typically have it. You know what I mean?
That's the other big part of it too. Is like a lot of people don't even have the access to the option. Like they can't even try to get internet because they're in a pocket of space where it just doesn't reach them. Yeah, that's not just an inconvenience. It's literally like you are missing out on something essential.
Yeah. Nowadays, especially nowadays, there's, like I said, there's money that could be made, and money is essential. You know what I mean?
I think that's why the whole wave of, I'm glad that we're finally turning around. It feels like, but the whole wave of banning people from certain social media is really dangerous, because of how essential social media has become.
So dangerous.
You can't even argue that Facebook and Instagram and Twitter are not valid forms of communication.
100%.
You can't argue that anymore. Like it's so important in terms of speaking with how we connect with one another, and also like you said, there's money to be made. So we're
much.
cutting them off. If we cut them off from social media, it's like saying, hey, this isn't an option for you anymore. Go find another revenue stream. This won't work. YouTube in particular is wild. You've seen so many stories now of, I lost my channel lost monetization, and it's always some person behind a screen working at YouTube that just decided that was what was going to happen.
Yeah, this person said something that's just I don't agree with, or I don't see a second side of it. Fuck them, basically. You know what I mean? Like, cut them off. You know, and I think it's particularly dangerous because, like, I'm trying to explain it in the best way I can. I don't know if you've heard of like the Twitter files or like seen anything.
Oh, they just came out, right? Over the last week or two?
My Lord, that is like concerning. Okay.
I know bits and pieces, but if you would be able to recap for me, I would appreciate it.
It's like basically during the pandemic, I don't want to bring this up too much because they might censor you.
I know.
Because of the pandemic.
There's a beep sound right there.
There's like a lot of news sites reporting that this, that, such on, such forth, the vaccine does this, the vaccine does that, you know? And like censoring certain people who just didn't agree with that ideology, or like maybe they weren't malicious, because I do believe malicious people should be at least censored. Like, I mean, maybe not taken off the platform, but like keep them on the lower echelon of what's being shown if they're just, you know, dickheads. You know what I mean? If
I think the problem there even becomes, though, like what we were saying, you're talking about individuals that define what malicious is.
Facts,
so
though. Facts.
How do we, as a group of people, define that? Like, you'd have to publicly state what you find to be malicious, and then only follow those guidelines. I think like people like, I think our line is drawn at like people like Kanye West. Like, I have a lot of respect for him, great artist, you know what I mean? But like, when he had said what he said on Twitter initially, I was like, okay, like that's pretty fucked up, you know. But maybe he was
maybe he was fucked up. You know what I mean? Maybe he was drunk. Maybe he was. I'm not gonna play it off.
You're talking
just
DEF CON, the DEF CON tweet.
Yeah, I'm like, that's that's not very nice. You know what I mean? That's kind of.
You are the general reaction though. That's what most people do. They see that, they go, oh.
That's not like, man, Kanye. You were doing all right for a minute. You know what I mean? But then and then like,
it's the word choice that really.
Yeah. I feel like he definitely could have used different words, but like
he explains it as a sleepy tweet. He says he was drinking. It was not God's work.
I don't know, but then there was something, I forgot what he did after that, but he had dug himself even worse. Like,
he
recently.
went on Drink Champs, and then he said all that stuff on Drink Champs. I think that was the second thing he did, because he did that immediately following the tweet.
He did something else though too, and because Elon Musk reinstated his Twitter.
Oh well, but that was after he was on Lex Fridman. Because he had a 2.5 hour. I'm deep in this kind of stuff. He had a 2.5 hour interview with Lex Fridman, and in that was where at least Lex tried to give him a chance. He didn't really give himself an out, and I think Elon only brought him back because they're friends, and also Elon he's trying to get that public favor right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So of course, the popular thing to do is reinstate everybody that lost their Twitter. He didn't reinstate Alex Jones, which kind of shows his hand, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Like, so you believe in freedom of speech, and you believe in all this up to what you find to be unacceptable.
I think
that's exactly what the problem was the whole time, is that we had people doing that.
I think sadly, like inherently as human beings, there's like always going to be some sort of greed
bias
over like something that's yours. You know what I mean? Like I don't think people look at something as the bigger picture. Like when people say free speech, you can go in the middle of the mall and yell what you want. It's like, that is technically right. You know what I mean? That's definitely technically right. But like when you have a platform that literally can change the tides of an election, or could cause something terrible to happen, like the riots and stuff like that, like just one post sparked off, and then you know what I mean? Like something that has that type of power, you can't be biased unless it's an obvious bias. And I mean, obvious biases are like
it clearly.
Yeah, like at least in my opinion, I think like obvious bias are like certain crimes. So like just every human being knows, or certain like doing or saying certain things, every human being knows, okay, like we all might not like each other's political beliefs. We all might not even like each other's country or whatever, you know what I mean? But that person got to go. You know what I mean?
Like
that person's
violence.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what like I feel as if a lot of like when Kanye talking about like fucking Adolf Hitler and stuff like that, like I'm sure every single human being has things you like about them. You know what I mean? But like this one particular thing that he did that was bad is like
astronomically bad.
Yeah, like the worst. You can't get worse than that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, why are you highlighting the good things that he did when what he did bad took away the potential good things however many millions of people could have did?
I would say it's kind of like you got to think beyond it, in the sense that I think for one, he's trying to be incendiary, he's trying to light a fire, he's trying to get people to talk.
Oh yeah.
So he's not explaining what he's saying. He's only saying the controversial thing. And I think the genius of it is that when he says the controversial thing, he phrases it in just the way that would sound bad to the people he wants it to sound bad to. Like, he knows what they're going to hear, and so he says it that way and then doesn't elaborate.
Yeah,
he just keeps saying it. I mean, I will say I've seen Kanye say some things. Yay, we should say yay. I've seen him say some things where he has went a bit too far. I would even say the original tweet was just terrible word choice. But then again, it goes with what I'm saying. Like, if he's trying to highlight something, he almost recognizes the fact that he has to be that absurdist with it. Like, Jim Carrey played him in a movie, and I'm forgetting his name, but I really look up to the dude. And he was the first guy he would take stand-up, and he would go on stage and do the opposite of what you would expect him to do, only to get Andy Kaufman. He would go on the stage and he would only do it to get a reaction out of people. So it's like he would go up and play this character that didn't get any laughs. Then he would leave and come back out as this asshole and just be rude to the audience and piss them off like a heel in wrestling. But that was his stand-up routine. And so this whole thing was that he would just get a rise out of people, but in a way that was so admirable. Like, it shows you what performative art is capable of. And so when I see Kanye do all of this,
like, man, maybe he's acting,
do
you
all
know?
of this, I almost, it's hard for me not to respect it in a sense, because it's like, and with the quote, him saying that he loves Hitler.
Oh, man.
The thing about that quote is, he is ultimately preaching the Christian ideal of loving thy enemy, right? You have to love
technically,
everybody. If you truly believe in love, you have to love, even if someone killed your child, you have to understand that that is one of God's children, and you still have some type of love for that person. Even though that, when taken to the extremes, sounds like an extremist statement, it's the same statement as saying what I just said. Mm-hmm. It's just that he's not explaining. And other people do the explaining for him, and it all gets lost in that social media madness where you just post a 10-second clip of what Ye said, and now that's who he is.
I hate that whole 10-second. I mean, 10-second clips are fine as long as they're good content, you know what I mean? But if the content's like malicious or made to hurt someone, or I mean, I'm sure many people don't intentionally put out content like that, you know what I mean? But every once in a while it comes around, you know what I mean? And someone's whole entire opinion of a human being, you know, we're not talking about a robot, you know what I mean? We're talking or like a hologram. We're talking about like a real human being with thoughts and feelings. You automatically do not like them. Like, off of you watched a 10-second clip of them saying that I believe this and I don't believe in that, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're like, wow, this person is a total piece of human crap and I hate them. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
And I think he's highlighting that in a way where it's like you see him talk to people and you recognize that immediately. Like, he doesn't have antagonistic interactions with people in the public eye. It seems like you don't really see it. You just see people getting upset with what he says.
Yep. And
so it's hard to eat for me to even reckon with, because I know for a fact if I were to talk to that person, it would be a great interaction.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm not coming into it with negative intent, and it's so easy to do that when you watch 10 seconds and you're presumptuous. People, like you said, they got thoughts and feelings. You aren't the same person that you were earlier today. Everything is always changing. And so it's really, really hard to reconcile with that whole concept of like, and I think that's why people are turning around in a sense too. It's like we've already grown out of that whole cancel culture thing in a way.
Yeah, I think it's definitely
people
switching.
Aren't like that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the culture in general, the economy in general. Everything is just like they're definitely starting to sway away from that whole
Thank
cancel.
God.
I know. Oh yeah, thank God. Because you know, the smallest mistake you made when you were 5 years old, you know, all of a sudden gets on Facebook and they're like, wow, this person is this type of individual. They made a mistake 32 years ago. Like, fuck them. Like, they don't do anything great. Like, and you're like, wow, like. Man, I think, you know, and inherently every human being comes from, they've done maybe something not so good or wrong, or every human being has had their moments, you know what I mean? Like, it's not specific human beings only, you know what I mean? So I think this whole idea of people being 100% perfect, saying perfect things every single time they speak, like, it's a very hard thing to put on us humans, you know? We're inherently not perfect.
I agree. And I think it's the braver, more courageous thing is to own that and to recognize that you're not perfect. Like,
Facts.
People, I think, expect perfection, which is just the strangest thing. Like, they know that they're not perfect, yet they look for that in other people. It's like, you're never gonna find that. It just doesn't exist. There's no oasis. There's no perfect society. Like, every single thing's got some kind of issues.
Like, there's problems everywhere. So, like,
that's why relationships are the way they are. I think even you have to learn to appreciate the things that someone doesn't have. Like, it's okay that they don't live up to my every expectation because I like what they are. Yeah.
For sure.
People be looking for the downsides, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Gosh,
100%.
they bum me out. They bum me out, these people.
They
I'm like,
definitely
no,
do.
Just try and smile. Man, that was 30 minutes riffing off of one question. I don't know if we're ever going to get through all these questions I got for you. What are your favorite visuals? What are your favorite music videos that you've made?
Wow. I definitely think Moon right now, just for me personally, Moon and Icon. Icon was like a pivotal moment for me as an artist. You know what I mean? Because like beforehand, I had only had one music video out. There's ideas that I've had, but I just really didn't have any money. You know, I didn't have any money. I didn't have time. I didn't have the resources. I was very young still kind of finding myself. You know what I mean? going through girlfriends and just life, and you know what I mean, just doing other things other than music. I really wasn't as focused as I could be. So before Icon, I had only had one video, and it had gotten taken down. So I'm like, well, like let's do this one, you know. And Wheat was actually in that video with the big, I think it was a big ass backwood or a fronto leaf. But Jarek HD, one of my favorite videographer, movie maker, just all around great individual. He's my favorite like video person in the whole city. You know what I mean?
He's done a lot of work with people in the city too.
Amazing work, like just outstanding work. And he
when we say Jarek HD, if you guys want to look him up, it's JERRICK HD.
Or North Potential, at North Potential. That's his. That's like the camera brand that he has, or like the video brand that he has himself branded as. But he's amazing, and he had ended up shooting Icon with a buddy of mine. His ironically also named Cody, but he's not my little cousin. His name is Jet. We had shot a video, Icon. It was supposed to be like a spoof, like a remix of like the Jaden Smith Icon beat. Like we were both over at Wheats one day, and we were just kind of like vibing, you know, just listening to music and stuff. And then he was like, I wrote a verse, or I remember I brought up like, I wrote a verse to the Icon beat. Let me show it to you right quick. And he goes, funny you say that, I wrote a verse to the Icon beat. And I'm like, ooh, okay. So like, we should probably just do it, you know what I mean? And then it from one thing to another, and then we got a whole Icon video out. And that right there is like a more pivotal moment in like my career as an artist. Like I was like, okay, this is what a video is supposed to look like. You know what I mean? This is like what a good music video is supposed to look like.
Before that, were you making your own videos?
No. I had a videographer. I don't want to bring up their name only because I'm not going to trash talk them, but they just weren't there at the time. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to bring up their name and put
we all
it bad.
start from somewhere.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And they were just starting out, and I was like, okay, I gave them a chance, you know what I mean? So I still respect them for giving me their time, you know what I mean? And being reliable and all of those great things. But like, just at the time, I was like, man, this is not what I want my music to look like, you know, when I put it into a video. So after Jarek, although I didn't really put out very much content in general in terms of music videos, just because like at that point in life I also had no resources. Like I was able to do that at that point, but I had spent a pretty penny on doing things, you know, for like my outfits and, you know, just little things that I wanted to do here and there, and to getting places and making sure things were right. And so I just, you know, at that time I didn't have very much leeway, so I hadn't made another video, and let's say I'm thinking like 2 years. I had wrote that whole entire time though, so I'd been writing. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I knew that it was gonna be music, and I wanted to continue writing. You know what I mean? Like I still wanted to get, because as an artist, like when you're at a certain point in life, you know, you feel a certain way, you want to get that onto paper. You know what I mean? So as I was going through life, you know, I would get all that on paper, and then I had met a guy named Run It Back Chop. That dude, he absolute, like one of my best friends, you know, best friend in the world. Do anything for that guy. Great individual. And he hits me up on Facebook one day like, hey man, you know, like I noticed you got some songs out, and they might not really sound the best right now. Like they're still getting mixed and mastered and stuff. They're not terrible. Like the content's there, you know, you can rap really well, but maybe I should help you out, you know? And he's like, and I'm like, well, that'd be great, man. But at this moment, I don't even have a car. You know, I don't have anything. You know, I'm out here dolo, like I'm broke. He's like, well, I mean, I'll come pick you up. I'll take you out to my house. You know, we'll get some content done, some this, some that done. And from that point on, dude, it's just been up. Like, you know, in general, life in general, being able to get out more content, being able to get out more professionally produced songs, being able to drop more videos, having a videographer as being your best friend, having somebody like around you that's actually able to do those types of things is absolutely so beneficial, and just like a privilege that I have that not many other people have, and I'm very, very grateful for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of bigger, or not even bigger artists, I should say, but just a lot of the people that seem to keep things moving usually have some semblance of that, some type of team, some type of group around them.
For sure.
That either they have something to offer towards the art, or it's just they keep them motivated. Mm-hmm. And that's important.
Very important.
As we were saying off air, that you are the company you keep, you know? The people that are around you matter in the sense that they create what you are. So if you're around people that aren't pushing you to be the best you won't be the best you. Mm-hmm. You'll stay stagnant.
You'll stay stagnant, and you won't. You know, I mean, you may like they say, you know, if someone hits the lottery, they'll go from 0 to 100 real quick. You know, like that's something we used to always say. But it's like a majority of the time, that's just not going to happen if you don't change, try new things, do more, try harder. You know what I mean? You're just going to stay stagnant your whole life.
Yeah, and the people that you look up to that are doing things accomplish that by doing the opposite, by not being stagnant, by getting out there and going for it. It's rarely, like you said, the lottery thing. Most of the people you look up to and respect didn't just hit the lottery one day.
It wasn't the lottery.
Them. Yeah, it's difficult. And you know, it's that thing about looking at people like the human beings that they are, too. Like, the people that we look up to are just like us in that sense.
Literally, yeah.
They had to work for that.
Normal. And they worked hard enough, and it worked out for them. You know what I mean? Maybe not right away. Some people it takes longer than others. Some people hit immediately. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's a crazy process, and you're kind of creating your own like legacy while doing it. And it's amazing how a majority of the time when you really put your hard work into something, things will come your way. You know what I mean? It's really crazy how, like, in general, like the whole manifesting idea is like, manifesting isn't just like, hey, I'm going to get this one day. You know, manifesting is also putting your work into it. And once you do that, it's like, wow, like you can really do a lot. Like you might not be able to become the president if you aren't the age you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? Just obvious things. But like you could probably become the president if you got enough people to vote for you.
Yeah.
So it's like you could really do anything. And when as you get older, like from younger, we used to think our parents had all the answers. You know, we're like, hey, what do you do, or how does this work? And like it's like now they're just. We didn't know shit. Like, they didn't know shit. This is just regular people out here doing regular shit. Like, there's a couple people who inherently are smarter than others, but it's like, nobody really knows shit. You know, we're just out here winging it. Like, in a fucking floating rock in space. You know what I mean? Like,
it's as simple as it seems.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
How I look at manifestation is kind of like, even if you don't believe in the magical part of it, it's still true that the only way you would accomplish it is by believing that you would have accomplished it.
Believing in yourself, and, you know, believing in what you're capable of. You know what I mean?
And that's how you take those first steps in the first place. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people are going to talk a lot of shit. They're going to see you taking those first steps, and they're going to make fun of you, and that's going to discourage you no matter what you want to go do, unless you're just trying to be a plumber. Like, you're going to have people coming at you. Even the other plumbers probably would make fun of you.
Oh, yeah, like, fuck that guy, bro. You see too much of his ass crack. Like, you're like, wow, like...
He uses the baby wrench.
Right, what is it? Like,
but you're always gonna. I feel like you have to embrace that. You have to push past it and recognize that adversity, that challenge, is like you have to work against it. That is part of becoming what you want to become.
Yep.
It's a process, man. It's a process that has to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Again, I'm preaching to you guys. Write this down. How many unreleased songs do you have in the vault? You've touched on this a little bit, but I bet we got quite a bit.
Oh, my Lord. Ooh, I have like a Google Drive. Like, I have like 3 or 4 full 15 gigabyte Google Drives just full of music.
Wow.
Like, I really don't know how many songs in total. I'm thinking, like, if I could guess, I would say like 800 or 900 at the low end. But it's... Like I said, like for me, music is like, I don't know. I try not to be so much of a perfectionist nowadays, you know. But back while I was making those songs, or when I made those songs, I was inherently a perfectionist. So like a lot of them just never came out, or I have you know, obviously I've forgotten about some of them, you know. And I'll go back and listen to them, and I'm like, wow, like this was great for 2 years ago, but for right now, maybe I shouldn't drop it, you know. I think like eventually I'm gonna drop, like I'm gonna find like my 20 or 30 best ones and drop just like a Volt album, you know what I mean? Like just drop something to where people can listen to where I came from, or the songs that I've done beforehand that just never made it out onto an actual album or EP or anything. But I don't know. It's just, a lot of the songs I would think back and I would listen to it and I'm like, wow, like maybe I don't want to put this out because it just doesn't hit the way I like to, or maybe I said something that many people wouldn't like, or because of the cancel culture thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I should watch it. I mean, now I don't give a fuck. Cancel me. I grew up without the internet. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up where I don't need the internet to get where I need to go. Like, a majority of people do. And I mean, even me, like, I would make a lot more money on the internet, you know what I mean? But if it comes down to it, I'll go sell CDs. You know what I mean?
Old
like,
school.
You know what I mean? Like, this shit's not that important to me. Money over, like, the influence. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have a very large influence instead of money. So, like, at that time, I was very afraid of, like, being canceled. So I wouldn't drop some songs, or maybe I would keep this, like, maybe that's for the future, or maybe I should have put it out 5 years ago, or, like, it'd be great if I was doing this 5 years ago because this could go out. You know what I mean?
We grow up.
Yeah, I know.
I have some older tracks where they're out there. You can find them.
They're out there.
I say things I would have never said.
Oh, yeah.
Now I listen
Like,
to it. I
wow.
go, oh, like there it is.
I can't believe I believed in that. You're like, I can't believe I believed in that. Wow, that's me. Like,
Yeah.
that's just so crazy to me.
And I probably stopped thinking that like 6 months after I wrote it. Like it didn't take long. It makes you realize how much you've changed even when you go back and you listen to stuff like that. Whoa, that was me.
It's crazy. Like a lot of people, like when they turn 18, I remember, you probably remember when you turn 18, you were like, damn, I know everything. I'm an adult. Fuck everybody. Like,
yeah.
I'm grown now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then you hit 21, you're like, wow, I was a dumbass at 18. It's like, wow, like I was not really grown. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I feel like as time goes on, you just look back at your younger self like, damn.
Yeah, it's kind of inevitable. I bet even like 40-year-olds look back at themselves at 37.
Yeah. And they're like, wow, why did I believe that way? Or why did I do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can't change it. It's the human process. Unless you are amazing. Like, you'd have to be an incredible person to just not change. Yeah.
There's a very small centric of people who are just inherently incredible individuals. Like, as sad as that may be, like,
they're what politicians pretend to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, we look up to those people, even though they barely exist. Songwriting process. How do you go about writing a song?
Okay.
Do you hear the beat first?
Yeah. I have like a certain set of producers that I go through. They'll like send me beats, or like they'll send me like the stems and the files, and they'll be like, hey, just check these out, check out these 10 or 15 beats, whatever ones you like, you can keep, you know what I mean? And then I'll give the other ones away to other artists who might need them or whatnot. And then they'll send me those packs. I'll sit back, roll me up a backwood, relax, lay back in a chair, and just put on my earpods and just listen. Initially, it wasn't like that, because I didn't have headphones at the time, or any times that I hadn't had headphones, I would just have to keep my regular phone on. But as if my songwriting process now is just put the earphones in, the noise canceling keeps everything out, so you can really like hear the beat very, very well. And like I'll sit there and listen to the beat for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes while I'm smoking, and just kind of get like ideas in my head of how I want to start things. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a good opening 4 bars is like detrimentally probably the most important thing. You know what I mean? Because there's plenty of songs that even me, myself, as a listener, I listen to, and if the first 20 seconds of the song aren't hitting, I'm going to skip it. You know what I mean? And that's just me as a listener. Everyone's, at least nowadays, a majority of people's attention spans are getting very low. You know what I mean? So you want to be able to adhere to those types of individuals as being a majority of people. You know what I mean? You can see it on TikTok and how it being like, I think it's the biggest social media. I'm not positive, but
I think it is.
Yeah. And that's crazy to me, because they're like 10, 20-second videos, a majority of them at least, so it's like, I try to think of the first 4 bars that'll just hit. You know what I mean? There's something that's like, wow, okay, this is how we start in the song. Like this is how he wants it, or So like then after that, once I've gotten them first 4 bars, it's much easier to structure the song around them first 4 bars. That's typically my like songwriting process. It just really depends on the instrumental or the beat or the vibe most of the time too, but a majority of the time, like I have a sound that I'm trying to corner, a market that I'm trying to corner. You know what I mean? I think Flint right now has a very specific sound that the industry in general, like the bigger cities like Atlanta and Detroit have, just isn't being displayed. Right now, Flint is kind of coattailing off of Detroit with a lot of artists, and that's okay. That's completely fine. Love Big Brother Detroit. You know what I mean? But I want to continue the Flint sound. You know what I mean? I want to have like the Flint sound, because eventually, hopefully, you know what I mean? One day, I would like the Flint sound to be a staple sound. You know what I mean? Like Atlanta, or like like Compton, or you know what I mean, where they have like, you listen to their music and you're like, wow, that's from New York. You know what I mean? That's New York drill. That's Chicago drill. That's Southern rap. You know what I mean? Or like I want Flint to have their own thing, and I think that now the last 5 years in specifics, like Flint's really gotten a lot of light. You know what I mean? And I want to try to be one of those artists, like one of the founding artists that really kept Flint's sound going. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of my songs are structured around like the Flint, Detroit, like area similarities and stuff, and like sound types and everything. But it's like, I feel like there's a legacy that just hasn't been fully told yet. You know what I mean? And there's like the area that we come from, a lot of the people that I know, that you probably know, you know, they put their all into the music and they have a certain sound. If you continue that sound, people will, you know what I mean, it'll all come together.
How would you describe the Flint sound?
Okay, so in my opinion, the Flint sound is just like aside from the Detroit sound, because a lot of people get Flint and Detroit mixed up. They'd be like, Rio de OG's from Detroit, and it's like, he's not really, but you know, we'll keep it, you know what I mean, because it's great for marketing. They're like our big brother, you know, it's great, you know what I mean. But Flint sound in particular from Detroit sound, because a lot of people think that they're the same, is Flint is typically a lot more like forthcoming of things. You know what I mean? Like, they're willing to say a lot more than what a lot of other individuals are willing to say. You know what I mean? Like, and it's sort of like Crispy Life Kid said, or Y&J. It's called like spice talking. It's like hot grease fire. You know what I mean? Like, you can't put out a grease fire. You know what I mean? Like, It's not regular fire. So it's like this shit is grease. Or if they say that, that's like kind of what they're referring to. So it's like, you want to just shit talk the entire time. A majority of the songs. There's obviously certain songs that just aren't straight shit talking, or they might have a theme, but you're still shit talking in that theme.
BFB
you know what I mean?
Pac-Man's a great example.
Great. That guy is hilarious.
I think he's actually mastered that art.
Yeah,
in a sense.
and that's like inherently a Flint art. You know what I mean? He's from Flint. He had moved there after he had dropped, in my personal opinion, an absolute fucking banger. I don't know. It didn't hit like initially like it has now, but like initially I was like, damn, like this guy is gonna blow up. You know, he's just crazy. Like, I ain't never seen a guy go into fucking Little Caesars with a pizza in the music video. Like, that's funny, you know. Like, I love this guy, you know. But like, it's inherently like a Flint sound. So it's crazy to me that like Flint has gotten so much like exposure and light these last, I would say, since like 2018. Really, like that's really when things started to kick off. I mean, 2020 was like the pivotal year, I think, that like everything, like that's when, you know, I think the Coochie Man came out, or the Coochie song.
Hold on.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that shit was crazy. I had people from around, like out in LA and in Dallas, and they're like, bro, like, do you know who this guy? I'm like, I don't know him personally, but like, I know him, you know, like he's from my city, you know, like we're lit out this way, you know.
Funny because that's like they'll hear you from Flint and they'll be like, oh, you must know Coochie Man.
Yeah, like, no, I don't know him personally, you know, but like we're around, you know what I mean. I'm sure we've been on the same blocks, sure we've been to the same spots. We're just, you know each other personally. It's like every other quote unquote big city, but it's like Flint is just basically Flint is weird because it's like it feels like a bigger city in a way, in like a sense, but then like when you grow up here, when you've been here a lot, you're like, wow, like there's only like what seems like 40,000 people.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like,
when you go to another city, you're like,
wow,
this is what a city is.
So many people, like, wow, I can barely drive here. These guys are going to kill me. Like, the driving in other cities, man, like, I don't know. I've been to a lot of places in the U.S., but like nothing feels like home, you know, especially because of the amount of people that are everywhere else. Like driving in L.A., dude, I remember we were stopped on the highway for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's 6 lanes. Like, how is there this much traffic? Like, people are like, this is crazy. Never seen that many people.
It's like you look at your phone, it says 15 minutes. You will be there in 15 minutes.
You'll be there in 12 minutes if you hit all the lights. Like,
no traffic, which there probably won't be, and you might almost hit a light or two, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Around here, that's what happens. There, it's like, oh, I have to leave 30 minutes in advance.
Yeah. Oh, my lord. I was in like Encino, which is like a suburb of Los Angeles, and I don't know if you've probably played tons of GTA. I don't even know why I'm saying that. You know, in GTA, the observatory?
Yeah.
I was going up to the observatory. Like, I based my whole experience in LA off GTA. I was like, I got to see the observatory. You know, I have to. I went up there and it said, like, we were like maybe 15 miles, which here, you know, it's maybe a 20-minute drive at most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like a 55-minute drive.
Yeah. And it's like nothing like the video game.
I'm like, wow. Like, it takes this long to get from the hills to the observatory.
And you can see it from the hills.
Yeah,
you're looking at it. It's
beautiful.
Right there.
It's so beautiful out there, man. I love it.
Yeah.
You can definitely see the air pollution, though.
Oh, can you?
Oh, man, dude.
Is it that bad?
It's bad. Like, it's kind of like, it's definitely concerning. Like, when you look over the sky and there's like an orange haze, you're like, I'm breathing that in.
What causes the air pollution in LA? I don't even know. Do you know?
I think... I mean, I'm not like a scientist or nothing, but I would think, at least in my mind, that it would probably be like the amount of cars, the amount of people, the amount of companies, oil being lifted in the air. I'm not sure exactly what's even lifted in the air, but it's got to be not good stuff. You know what I mean? Factories. It's probably really a multitude of different things. I mean, wildfires even, really, you know what I mean? I'm not sure if that would pollute things, but you would think it would, you know, especially with like all the fucking fire smoke, and it's crazy.
I think there was that big wildfire, and it came. I remember our sun was a different color for a couple days.
Yeah, that was
wildfires
crazy.
in California.
That was crazy.
Which means that traveled over the whole United States. That whatever that pollution was,
yeah,
it went
you know
all
what
the
I
way
mean?
across.
It's crazy when you see like bigger cities. Like, maybe Flint doesn't have the best air. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe it doesn't. But comparatively to Los Angeles, I'm like, man, I'm breathing pretty damn good air out here. Like, this is great. You know,
the mountains probably got to be the best. I mean, I haven't spent enough time there, but I bet I just go there and breathe and think, oh my god, like I can actually breathe here.
It's definitely much different in the mountains.
I've heard their water's better even.
Oh yeah. It's much like cleaner. It looks a lot cleaner than like what you would see like down on the regular, you know, sea level land.
Yeah. I wanted to say too, when I was leaving Chicago on the train, you pass by the city of, I believe it's Gary. It's named Gary. Another
Indiana
male name. No, Gary, Indiana. Yes.
Yep.
And so you're coming around the bend. And it's like I think it's one of the biggest steel factories in the U.S., if not the biggest. Oh, yeah,
that thing is huge.
It's gigantic. Like, when you're on the train, you're passing it for a solid 15, 20 minutes. It's there the whole time. You just keep seeing more of it. Mm-hmm. But as I passed by, it was right after sunset. And I know that in China, this happens quite a bit, where they'll have red sunsets because of whatever's in their air. And as I was passing, I'm watching the sunset, and I swear to God, it was red. I'm thinking, whoa, I've never actually seen it.
Yeah.
And it's because I was passing a factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had went out to Gary for like some work that I had to get done for a company that I was working for at the time. And like I didn't really hear a lot of history on Gary. Like I didn't even know that Gary is like supposedly like a hood in Indiana, you know. I just had no idea, you know. So like I'm out there and I'm like, wow, this looks strikingly like Flint. Like this is a very similar community, you know what I mean? And then I remember that same night, I remember like being right by that plant or factory. I don't even know what it is, you know what I mean? It's a very big thing, metal, steel, a lot of that, you know. I remember like looking at the sun and being like, wow, like that's a very odd color for the sun, you know. Like and like you can just tell. Like I feel like when you can tell when the air is different, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be breathing this in right now. Like this doesn't seem very healthy.
Yeah. Maybe after you're there for a while, your body becomes
maybe immune to it or like used to it or something.
Used to it is probably more like it, because you're probably still getting whatever those negative effects are. You just don't notice anymore. Mm-hmm. It's like, but I think it would take that perspective to do it. Like when I was growing up, my dad, now I notice, but he would smoke inside all day, every day. He ain't opening windows. He ain't doing none of that. Oh, man. So I didn't notice the difference. But then now I go over to his house. I'm like, oh my God, like my head's hanging out the window.
Yeah. I remember I've seen yellow walls and like, I'm like, wow, like is that smoking really does that? Oh my really Lord. Does. That is crazy. Like, never.
But only if you're a smoker, if you're the guy that does smoke a lot, at a certain point, unless you're super duper conscious of it and you always smoke outside or whatever, you start to just not care. And that sticks around. Yeah. Man. It does not go away. You can even try to wash it out, but it'll get in the wall. Mm-hmm. I think tobacco, I think nicotine, I should say. I think it's just when it is smoked, that's what happens. That's why I think other forms of nicotine are the recommendation. Like if you're gonna do nicotine, chew the gum, because that stuff just destroys whatever it touches. Oh, but it's so sweet. I know how it is. I love me a backwoods. I can't stay away. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's so terrible.
I know how bad it is as it's happening.
Definitely addictive.
But my brain is also going, you know? You can only do it so many times before it starts to flip around and you start to go,
no, that's just nasty.
Like if I picked up a cigarette and I smoked one cigarette, I'd be like, oh, I could see how you could do this. But that's how it gets you.
Yep. Every damn
nicotine
time.
is sneaky, man.
That stuff is terrible, bro.
Sneaky.
Terrible.
It's terrible. It's the devil's lettuce, if you ask me. That's the true devil's lettuce.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't get away from it. Oh my gosh. It just sucks you right in. That's what it's chemically designed to do. It's crazy. What can we look forward to? You got any like upcoming projects or anything like that you can plug at the moment? Is there anything that is in the near future?
I have a video coming out relatively soon. I'm hoping, I don't want to give like an exact date, but let's just say in a month or two, you know, like within the next month or two, because some technical difficulties with like the equipment and things like that. But after that video, I'm going to drop Eastside Soldier of Flint 2. The second, there's 3 works of art to that whole, like currently just 2 of them, but there's 3 of them. There's 1, 1.5, and 2. 1.5 was just like a filler, like, hey, here you go, here goes something to continue what's going on, you know, don't forget about it, like it's still being thought about, you know what I mean? But I really, really think the songs that I put in this next project are going to be out of the water. I mean, the amount that like people like really listen to the music, I didn't really like realize until this last project. And I really, really think that this is going to chart a little bit higher than my last project. Like I'm very, very confident, because it's like the hard work and like the dedication that I've really put into this is just, it blows everything that I feel as if I've previously done tenfold. You know what I mean?
Is that what separates it? Is the amount of effort you've put into it, you think? Or is it even deeper than that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like effort. Effort definitely would be the main deciding factor. I think it's gonna, in general, I'm gonna keep like the same cadence. You know, you're gonna get what you expect from Sparrow. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I just feel as if like every time I drop something, I get a little bit better at what I'm doing. You know?
Yeah.
And if I was able to be on a chart, even though it was only for a very small amount of time, at one point, this one's going to go there because I'm going to even put more work into it. You know what I mean? Like the way that I view it, I'm going to do as much as I can to make sure it does. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to drop it unless it will. That's like it doesn't matter too much, but like for me at this point, it matters. You know what I mean? It matters for sure.
When you see a lot of artists, they'll make like 30 songs to only drop 10 of them on an album.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason for that. They want 100%. Their best material to be highlighted. It's hard to, because for me, hearing that, it's like, oh, that means I have to give up on the other 20. I just have to let them.
Yeah, that was just in the wind. Or maybe I can drop them in a couple weeks or as a single, you know what I mean? But it really does suck when like you make something or you think it's amazing at that time being, but then you go back and listen to it and you're like, wow, like,
yeah,
maybe that shouldn't be on there.
But it's, you know, every song you write's your favorite. You write it and in the moment, oh, this is incredible. This is what I want it to be. And then you make something else that wows you even more and you go back and listen to the one and you're like, oh, that's not touching what this one is touching.
100%.
I mean, I think part of the magic of making a project too is finding, I mean, especially if you've created all of it over a period of time, maybe it wasn't originally intended to be part of this project even, but like the assembly of that is the fun part. It's figuring out how this all works as a unit. And then when it's all one thing, it has to all make sense together. I mean, I try to make it so I'm never wasting anybody's time on a project. Every single song feels like it's supposed to be there.
100%.
Like, don't drop a 30-track album unless it is essential for every single 30 songs. Every single one has to belong there. That's
100%.
pretty difficult if you have 30 songs.
Yeah,
If you have
very
10
difficult.
songs, you definitely took some. You have 5 songs, even that. I think X kind of capitalized that in a way where, one, the attention spans are shorter, so don't have the songs be as long. Just let them be 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't matter.
100%.
And the other part is he didn't even have that long of a tape. It was only 20 minutes. So you could listen to the whole thing real quick, and he did so many different things in 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah. I think that specifically nowadays, the way I view it is like, why am I going to do a 5-minute song? You know, like back then, why would I do a 5-minute song when I can do two 2-minute songs in a 1-minute intro or something, you know what I mean? And people still get the same amount of content, but it's just in different songs, and I can capitalize off of them streams from each of them songs, you know what I mean? Because instead of them listening to one 5-minute song, me only getting the content and the money from that one 5-minute song, now I'm getting it from 3 different songs or 4 different songs, or you know what I mean? It's I feel as if like it definitely the attention span for sure, but also marketing wise, like you have to be smart the way you market your music. You know, you don't want to drop a 20-song album where all the songs are 5 minutes when you can chop that up into 3 full albums. Damn near.
Like, don't spread yourself so thin.
Yeah, because eventually also the content that you make starts to get boring, or you've done it so long you kind of forget where you were at one point, or if you break things down, do things a little bit quicker, not like worse, you know what I mean? Definitely put your all into it, but make it a smaller amount, or break it up into different songs, or maybe make an album off of a whole idea from one song, or you know, there's like ways to market and promote the way you do music, and I think that's honestly essential nowadays because not many people are going to go listen to your 5-minute song. There's some songs, of course, everybody loves them and they're 5 minutes, you know what I mean? But like in today's market, a majority of listeners just don't have the attention span. They might not even have the time. Maybe they're not trying to hear the same flow and cadence for 5 minutes straight, or the same rapper. Maybe they like to switch their routine up every once in a while and listen to 2 or 3 rappers, and they only got a 10-minute break. It's like, I don't know. There's a lot more that you can do with like smaller amounts of audio, smaller amounts of video even. I do think that video is much different in that sense, but like smaller amounts of content that are put out there are easier to impact because it's more in your face. You're able to do it more often. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I mentioned how I do songs. It sometimes takes me 2, 3, 4, 6 months to do a song. But in that 6 months, I would have made 10 or 20 songs that are just like, they're all right. You know, they're great in my mind, but like, they're not that 6-month song. I could use all them songs and put them out through that whole entire process, and that keeps everybody coming. And they're small songs, and the marketing value's there because you're able to put out more music. People are able to pay more with them streams.
Yeah, and as we were saying off air, Russ showed us the way. I mean, 52 songs in a year, 52 video. I don't know if he did visuals for every single one.
I think I'm not sure if he did either, but I definitely think visuals is like, yeah, obviously the music matters, but in nowadays time, you don't even have to have music to blow up off of just visuals. You know what I mean? So like the music is just an added bonus. Get visuals, really. Like a lot of people need to be on their cameraman shit. Get them a camera guy who's loyal, or who might not charge as much as the number one cameraman ever, or, you know, in your city or whatever. But as long as they're more active with you, as long as they're learning while they're working with you, you're unstoppable. In my personal opinion, you're unstoppable if you know how to do things yourself, or if you have a team with you that can really help you. Because sometimes as like a rapper, or like someone who does podcasts or anything like that, it might be hard to edit the videos out, and maybe you got work in the morning and you just don't feel like dealing with it. You know what I mean? You could have a friend that knows what he's doing and knows what you like, doing all that for you. I just think it's really important to have a team and have that consistency, because you are typically more consistent with a team. You know what I mean? It's much easier to get the work done. So it's like things get done much quicker when you have somebody with you, you know?
And odds are you're not going to be as passionate about editing the videos as you are about writing the music.
And getting the
music
content
is what it's about for you. Yeah. I mean, I think Gary Vee is a leading example of just the level of content one can put out. Like, if there's anything that guy teaches you, it's how to provide consistent content. He's been doing it for years.
Oh, yeah,
and it's exactly what you're saying. He just has people around him that film him while he does other things. So, yeah, he's keeping himself busy. But while he does that, other people curate the content for him just off of what he's doing.
Yeah.
So he's never even really focusing on that part of it. Like, yeah, maybe he gives them tips and guidelines and stuff like this. But unless you're Mr. Beast, like you're not gonna make perfect content. Your brain's not designed for it.
Yeah.
And Mr. Beast, did you see his appearance on Joe Rogan? 'Cause that's the only time I've really seen him explain how much work he's put into it.
That is
he's put
unreal.
Yeah,
I'm like, you hear that from a content creator perspective, from a musician, and like anyone who's really working in this type of field, you're like, wow. He took like his first $10,000 and gave it away.
And not only that, he invested so much time into all of it. So he gave all this money away. He accepted that he wasn't going to take the money from anything. He's still doing that. He barely even buys anything to do it. And also, he invested his time while giving all that money away. So most people would just see that and think he's crazy. They'd think, well, you're not getting anything out of that.
I thought he was crazy. I was like, man, like your first $10,000, bro, you got to go get a car. Like, you got to get something. He's like, nah, fuck that. Give it to this homeless guy. No problem with that. That's a great deed, for sure, a great deed. But like your first it worked out for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like his selflessness, his like what I don't have, like his idea of like, I'm going to take the only $10,000 I have, something that they gave me for my hard work that I've done thus far. Fuck that. Give it away. Hopefully it'll do well. Did great. Like it's one of those things where it's like, you're glad that person is famous. You're glad that person is doing what they're doing because they're doing it right. And it's like, it's great content. And you don't typically see things like that happen.
No.
Like there's not many people just giving away a majority of their money to like people who need it. You know what I mean?
To the point where when he says it, you're reluctant to even believe him. You're like, wait, no, there's no way. Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, he did mention that he keeps things for like regular living expenses and things like that. But like, most human beings only need a very small living expense. You could probably live off $60,000 a year comfortably. You know what I mean? Like most humans can live off that comfortably. Imagine, there's videos of him with 100 million views, and if you do the YouTube AdSense math, it fluctuates, but like he's making money. You know what I mean? He's got money.
At this point, though.
He is definitely at this point.
Like, you have to think, like, even the revenue he's making now, that's probably 5-10 times what it was a year ago. So maybe now he's got money to throw around. But with the philosophy he's had,
he still does it though. Like I said, you only really need 60,000, and once you have that much money and you buy your family what you want to give them, because I'm sure inherently, just as humans and as decent people, like most of us want to take care of our families, just have a good life, take care of our families, and not have to worry about things. I'm sure once you buy your family whatever you could buy them, you know what I mean? And you got yourself whatever, like you're just bored, you know what I mean? You have so much money, you got what you need, you can live off 60,000 a year. So at this point, he's probably like, I'm making a living doing what I'm doing and having fun doing it. Why don't I go blow $3.5 million on one video? Like, fuck it. Do whatever, and this is content. It's going to make me $10 million.
Not only, because he's investing in his craft. And he chooses to put that towards what got him there, rather than, I'm going to go buy a boat.
Or a Bugatti, or, just some crazy outlandish stuff.
The only way he would buy a boat is if he did a video comparing a $10 boat to $1 million boat.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it would be some sort of content. And I read somewhere that anything that doesn't get broken, like on sets, or anything that he keeps that's actually worth value, he gives it away to people. So it's like, there's videos he does, like free car dealership. Like imagine pulling into a car dealership. You really don't know if you're going to be able to get a car today. You're like, I don't got no money. I'm broke, yada, yada, whoop-de-whoop. You go in the car dealership. He's like, hey, free car, $1. You're like, $1. He's like, you're bullshitting with me, right? He's like, nope, $1. Got the deed right here. You're like, all right, cool. Like imagine what that did for somebody. Like how their day completely probably fucking changed over $1 car,
Not only that, but I even saw him say on the Joe Rogan video, and at the end of his Willy Wonka chocolate factory video, he did this, because it was the same deal with the island. When he gives them something, if the taxes are going to be too much, he offers them to just give them cash anyways. He'll say, I know I'm going to give you this $1 million island, but if you're not going to be able to afford it in taxes, I'll just give you $1 million instead.
Yeah, and I'll figure out what to do with the island later,
Yeah, like that. That is so honorable. Like, that shows that he has to be being genuine about it, because he doesn't want to burden you with a Tesla if you can't afford a Tesla. So his generosity, I think, is infectious. Like, you need people like that to push that culture forward.
100%.
To change that whole, you know, just the whole way that stuff works. Because a lot of it's just for clout. A lot of it's just somebody going and trying to make a video so that they get attention. Whereas he's almost turned it into something else, where it's just giving back. The
Genuine
whole thing
content.
is giving back.
Good, genuine content again. I genuinely enjoy, like I feel like I enjoy what Mr. Beast is putting out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy that he's trying to change the playing field, you know, because for a long time, you know, even I indulged in it. A lot of things were just attention based. You know what I mean? Like, they were not really, like, you didn't put a lot of thought into them. You know what I mean? It was just like, hey, views. If I get 5 million views, I'm the shit. You know, I got it. And like, nowadays, it's like, yeah, 5 million views, but if your video sucks and everyone's commenting bad things on it, it's like, you got money from it, but what's money?
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, is money better than what you could potentially become? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And it also goes back to what you're saying about legacy. Like, when you engage in that, you're, in a sense, tarnishing that legacy.
100%.
You're allowing yourself to succumb to the whatever the most primal thing is. Like, oh, I know people are going to watch this and think whatever they'll think. Like I know I'm gonna be ridiculous in this video. It'll get me views. It only works so long. That's the other part of it.
Yeah,
At
only
a
works
certain
so
point,
long.
people just start to go,
It's funny at one point, but maybe not now, buddy. Maybe you probably should have took that time and did something with it. That's at least what I think.
or evolve on it.
Yeah,
evolve on it. Like,
on
oh,
it.
that's working. A lot of these social media manager people, what I've noticed is they will tell you to do the thing that worked and just keep doing that. Like Island Boys.
Yeah.
They could have
Oh, yeah.
done so much,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they let it fizzle by just doing the same thing that got them popular. Like, for one, they should have dropped 10 million other songs immediately when that
100%,
one song
100%.
came out. Because these guys... Those guys could definitely just drop songs. I watched them freestyle on Steve-O's podcast.
Yeah, I
I
know.
saw them. I know what they're like. Like, they just don't... I feel like people don't have the right mindset, and so... Or they get a manager, because they're in LA or wherever they are, and they tell them, oh, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this. Oh, hey, I see you squirting hot sauce in your eyes. Just do that in every single video now.
Every video, yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not what you should do. That's going to get you the same people who watch the other video, and you're not going to stretch. You're not going to grow from that. You're going to stay in one spot.
Yup.
And it's just, you don't want to be stagnant in your art ever. You never want to slow down like that or accept this thing or play to the most basic thing too. You want to challenge yourself.
100% every time. I feel as if you don't challenge yourself, you just won't grow.
Yeah.
Like, I've learned that. I mean, I you know, like I mentioned, I used to think therapy was out of the blue, you know, crazy, whatever. But like, in general, you go through therapy, you change. You know what I mean? If you take heed to what the person said, you know, you're going to change as a person. And I think a lot of the same thing happens with people's art, with people as people. You know, we all change. We all either get better or get worse for some individuals, you know, and it's just crazy to me. Like, you want people to see the change from the beginning to the end. You know what I mean? That's really like I think inherently a lot of people want to be able to be given their flowers at one point in life because they changed or they're starting to do good if they had once did bad. Because, you know, there's some people out there who are just pretty damn good people. You know what I mean? But
Hey, Lord, forgive me for my sins.
but it's like a majority of people, we all make mistakes, and you're just going to keep making the same mistakes. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the definition of insanity. If you don't do things different or change it up somehow, some way, it's going to be the same.
Yeah, and change is inevitable, so why not embrace it?
Yep, embrace it and try to work around it, because some things change and it really hinders you. You know what I mean? Maybe you lost your house. Maybe this or that happened, you know, but if you try to embrace it and work around it, figure out something to work around it, that's going to be a change that'll be beneficial to you in the future and other situations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it forms who you really are, I feel like. The experiences that we go through and the ways that we change, that's what makes you, not what, I mean, yeah, what you are in the moment matters, but it's like you are that because of all of this.
Yep.
So
yep.
all of that stuff creates the character, and if you don't make that change in one day, you know, oh, hey, I want to stop smoking. I'm not going to smoke today or tomorrow or the next day, then you never stop smoking. And then when you haven't smoked for a month, a year, now you're that person because you made that choice that time. But it's like you have to make the choice of the change. You can't just expect the change to happen.
Like 100%, like what you said is basically what I'm gonna, like, all right, so listen, I don't know anybody watching this podcast. If you want to quit cigarettes, 100%, if you want to quit cigarettes, if you're a smoker, and every smoker inherently knows, you know, you're looked at wrong nowadays. That's not the reason, but it's bad for your health. You know what I mean? So like the best way to quit is to just cold turkey it. Don't buy another pack. Don't grab another cigarette out of the pack. Don't smoke your last one, you know, because that's. I mean, I was a cigarette smoker for 5 or 6 years, so I know.
And don't pick up a vape either.
Vapes, for me, I'm still struggling with that. You know what I mean? Like me personally, but don't. You know what I mean?
Well,
You're
I just feel like
100%
at that
right.
point you'll move on to the vape.
Yeah,
That's just another form of the same drug.
100%. So like, at least in my perspective, if you want to quit cigarettes, just don't smoke them. Find something else to do, because I think inherently a lot of the time it's you're doing something. You know what I mean? Like anything that human beings like to do, working out or this or that or anything. You know, if it's something you like to do, you're gonna keep doing it. You know, or if it's something you're used to, you're gonna inherently go back to it. You got to find different ways to cope with it. Cut them bitches cold turkey. Never buy another pack again, and don't even look their way, and find something else to do. That's like the best way to, like, that I've learned from changing from like cigarettes and nicotine in general. 'Cause that stuff is the devil.
And you notice the difference. It's crazy over a week, over a month. I mean, you just start to notice, like, oh, I feel a lot better than I did feel when I was smoking every day.
Oh man, you're able to breathe so much better. So much better. And you might not notice it like when you are smoking cigarettes, you know, because you're used to it. You're used to how you're breathing. You're used to all of it. But once you're off of them, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
This is what regular people get to go through all day. Like they can breathe normally. Okay, maybe I should not be smoking cigarettes.
That type of stuff even pushes the incentive further, too. Once you start to feel those physical differences, that's when you really start to, if I want to feel like this, I have to continue doing this. It's not even a choice. There's no this and that at the same time. It doesn't exist.
And it all goes back to like what you had said initially is like, if you want to quit, you're going to quit. You know, you have to want to do something to be able to do it. And like a lot of people I've learned don't really want to change, you know, but if you want to change, you will change, and change will inevitably bring out a better you. You know what I mean? A better you in a lot of different ways, like too many ways. You know what I mean?
And I think too, it's like, if you're having those feelings, you're having those feelings for some type of reason. Like if you smoke and every time you smoke, you think, damn, I got to quit.
Yeah.
You got to recognize why that's happening, or else you're just stuck in a loop that never ends.
100%.
You have to reflect
100%.
upon that cycle.
Man, dude, the oh, I want to quit speech, like being a ex-cigarette smoker, the oh, I want to quit speech is just one that brings back like PTSD. You know, you're like, damn, man, like I said this 30 times before. Like, wow, like addiction is a crazy beast. It really is the craziest beast.
And it comes in so many different forms.
Especially if you have like an addictive personality, or like you grew up with parents who had addictive personalities. I think it's inherited, addictive personalities. I'm not really sure. I'm not like a scientist.
I think it's a little bit of both when it
but
comes to nature or nurture.
Yeah,
I think it's
like a little bit of
slightly
both.
Like you observe the behavior, especially if you grow up in a group of people with addictive behaviors. But I mean, also, I know there has to be some type of genetic basis to it. There just has to be. I mean, there's people who have had parents that were addicts, and they never even met their parents, but they still develop those traits.
But they're addicted to something, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
I mean, I think it's interesting, what's interesting about it is that it does come in so many different forms, too. Like, somebody with an addictive behavior will get off of one thing and then dive into something else, because they're filling that void, that addictive
100%.
void.
100%, yeah.
It's to like, me, I have an addictive behavior. I know I do. So when it comes to, like, when I see, or I have an addictive personality, whatever you want to call it, I'll see that, like, I'll see other people that don't seem to have this. I think that's why I make good music. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just addicted to that, engaging within that. I have to be in it. I'm addicted to it. When I'm in there, I'm so in it that I'm addicted. Just same thing with anything. If I'm talking to somebody, I'm addicted to the conversation. So it's hard for me to break that off when it comes to more negative behaviors, because then I have to tell myself, oh, no. Remember how you are. You will fall into this.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot do hard drugs. For lack of trying, or not, I shouldn't say it that way.
I know I like them too much. I know I like them motherfuckers too much.
Exactly.
I'm not trying those.
You shouldn't hand that to me. Just trust me.
Yeah, like I'll do it a lot.
Yeah.
Like repeatedly. Leave it there.
I will fall in love with that. So, I mean, it's and it goes all kinds of directions. I mean, it teaches you things about yourself. Sometimes you have to go through that in order to spot it. I will say that. You know, we all make mistakes. So don't be upset with yourself if you got addictive behaviors. You know, there's other ones of us out here. We're just like you. Yeah, it ain't easy being sleazy, okay?
It's not easy.
It ain't easy. I mean, I tell you, I vaped before I smoked, and then I smoked cigarettes for about a month, and then I somehow just put them down, just like you said. I just said, you know what? No, this is wrong. I should not be doing this.
Yeah,
the only reason I'm doing this is because I thought I should stop vaping.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Like I said, you'll hear a lot of people like, oh, I want to quit. Oh, I want to quit. Oh, I want to quit. And they just never do. You know, like in my mind, I was like, well, if I'm going to quit, I need to quit now.
I think it's a positive way to spin it in your brain, too, is to look at it like a test of your own willpower. Like, if I'm capable of doing this, I'm capable of doing other things as well. Because once you don't smoke for that week, you start to feel good about yourself. You're like, I can
100%.
actually stop smoking.
Yeah. I have you're like, dang, okay, I believe in myself enough to actually stop something. You know what I mean? That's like, I feel like believing in yourself in general is like detrimental. You know what I mean? It's damn near detrimental.
That's why they say before you get in a relationship, like you have to work out your own personal issues before you're going to be with somebody else. Just because I think those things clash. I think that eventually, like, you doubt yourself all the time. You're somebody who's always talking down on yourself. That's going to take a toll on that relationship with that other person. You have to learn.
It might even bring that other person down in some instances. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The whole idea that, like, you have to fix yourself before you can get into a relationship, it's so true because, like, all of what you have going on might pour onto them. You know what I mean?
Even in friendships, not even just in relationships.
Yeah, like
any relationship in life, your family even.
Yeah, your family for sure, especially because you're usually with them the most out of any other people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it's just crazy how fixing yourself really, like, is like a all-around whirlwind of, like, just a lot of things are going to come in handy, you know what I mean? A lot of things are going to come much easier and much better to you, and you're going to have better relationships and better health, and, you know, just, it's crazy. I feel like a lot of humans need to practice change and need to embrace change over staying stagnant, you know?
Yeah.
If there's no drive, then there's no willpower, like, to want to live. Like, you see it in a lot of people who have like depression and stuff, and that's like, you know, that's a actual disease, you know what I mean? And you see the way that they view the world, and you're like, wow, like, I'm grateful I don't have something going on like that, or you know what I mean? Like, because you just don't know, you don't know how that type of mentality is. You want to keep it on a, like, it's much better to keep things on a better mentality because that person's over there struggling, you know, maybe that person will feel better one day. I'm not sure how it all works, you know, but it's like, keep progressing so your mind stays progressed.
Yeah.
If your mind is progressed, I've learned a lot of people feel so much better when they just, they get things done, even cleaning the house. Something as simple as that, or waking up a little bit earlier in the morning and getting more things done. You know what I mean? You just feel much better when you make yourself productive or do something that you enjoy or that you love. It's crazy. It's bettering yourself in general, I think, is like it's like not a cure-all, obviously, for like certain things, but like it's really a cure-all for a lot of fucking people, you know?
Yeah.
They have like a lot of stuff going on, but their life is just inherently shitty. They're not trying, you know, they don't get up at the right time, and it's not, you know, it's not all getting up at the right time, but they don't have a routine. They don't have,
you know, they don't do shit. They just sit around all day and they're sad as hell. And I'm like, man, like, that's why I preach change, you know, because I see people like that. And I've like me, myself, I've been there, you know, where you're like, you don't want to do anything. You're bored. You don't even know what you're going to do. You know what I mean? But you get up and you try something and it works.
Yeah.
And there's no better feeling than getting up and trying and it actually works. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, wow.
we're humans. We're all humans. We all learn from patterns. So if we don't start that pattern, if we don't even have a way to recognize it, then you'll never even discover that.
100%.
It's never going to be there in front of you.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why we see a lot of self-help people kind of getting popular nowadays. I think a lot of people are in that funk. I think sticking everybody inside for a year didn't help with that.
Yeah, not at all. Not
all these
at all.
people that were already maybe not doing well got like 10 times
10
worse.
times worse. That was, oh man, it was the weirdest time for me.
Yeah.
That whole like.
Oh, I went through a crazy little phase.
Yeah. It was very, because like I'm in the house. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I would step out there once in a while, you know, to go to the store, do regular shit, you know what I mean? But like, I was in the house the majority of the time, so like, what do you do with just you in a house all day, constantly? It fucking drives you insane. Like, you're doing, like, I mean,
it becomes monotonous at a certain point.
Yeah, you're like, bro. Like, I remember when things opened back up, I was so happy. Yeah. I was like, wow, I can go outside and, like, walk on a path and smell the great trees outside.
You're just skipping and picking up flowers.
Yeah, and
like,
not have to worry about like a cop stopping me like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be out here.
Right.
I'm not sure how that all worked, but like that whole
was the
idea
feeling.
was crazy.
That was the feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna go out, and then we in Flint, right, very near where we are right now, there was a security guard that got shot by somebody, if you remember.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
because
that was
it was
tragic.
the same type of thing. They were saying, hey, you have to wear a mask in this store. The other person said no. Boom. So it's like...
one thing escalates to the other.
Yes. I think they left and then they came back with the weapon. I think that was what had actually occurred. It was something like... And, you know, it's all a matter of the different world we were in. I mean...
yeah, it really felt like a different world.
Yeah.
It really, especially going outside and like normally densely populated areas, and it's like a ghost town.
I can only imagine what the cities were like.
Oh, man.
Here, we don't see that many people out.
Yeah, it's
Even
not...
then, it's still kind of recovering. There were more people out before.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
But in the cities, it must have been dead out
Dead.
there.
That's just, it's crazy to think, too, because it really gives you like an eerie sense, like, wow, like, oh no.
Yeah, it reminds you of the capabilities of some of these power structures, you know? It's they could just make that happen. Like,
oh, yeah.
All they need is a good reason, and we are in our houses. I mean, but again, going back to what we were saying before, drives a mofo crazy. It'll drive you crazy being in your house. I think so. I think it's kind of unavoidable. I think you kind of need that human interaction.
You really do. You really do. And social media does it for a time being, but eventually you just want to go hang out with your friend. You know what I mean? You want to go hang out with your friend. You want to go play basketball with your buddy. You want to get on a video game with them and be in the same room, have your systems hooked up, or, you know, just like the old days, or like not being able to even have interaction at like work. Like going to work every day and talking to your coworkers, like that's important for a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Agree.
So not having any interaction at all, especially ones being stuck in like bad situations in life, it really just amplified everything. But like, it's speaking on like what the Twitter files like brought out and everything, that it's crazy because I'm not here to say who like should have won or who shouldn't have won an election, because I don't have really like a political opinion.
Yeah.
I do like personally one more than the other, but I'm not real into politics, you know?
Yeah.
But come to find out that like, at least this is what was said, like what the files had said, there was 100% like propaganda in the election. Like, people really did try to sway things. People did 100%, especially social media sites like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. They 100% did censor information that they found to be wrong, but
and
it really
who
wasn't.
Was it that determined what should not be said?
I'm not entirely positive.
Because I thought that was also revealed in
Yeah, there was it was supposedly like from my perspective, the left wing was paying certain individuals to push a narrative.
The DNC is a better way to put it, even. The Democratic National Committee, I believe it stands for.
Yeah. They were like,
So
they were paying
like
to push a narrative.
Yeah, which is just their whole game in the first place.
Yeah.
You see that with politics 24/7.
In general.
Who can pay us more?
Yep.
If they can pay us more, we will say what they want us to say.
And I think for social media in specifics, that's detrimental because all in all, does that mean anybody can pay a certain amount of money to push a narrative and have anything canceled or anything censored under that, that might push a wrong narrative? And a lot of the people that had said certain things were right. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of conspiracy theorists, a lot of weirdos,
But you validate it when you censor those things too.
You know what I mean? There's like I'm sure,
Even if it's incorrect, you still validate it to the people who believe it.
there's plenty of young and impressionable individuals, but we were all young and impressionable. We didn't act on our beliefs because we couldn't. We were young. You know what I mean? When we get older and we start to realize more things, we're better at decision making. Most of us, at least. I mean, some things blow my mind still being an adult. You see other adults act crazy, but
I think we're all still children in a sense. Even it's like we are still learning.
It's such a slippery slope to me because of like the younger audience easily being like persuaded and things like that. I just wish there was like a real age verification thing, because then adults could really like say what they want, get it figured the fuck out. You know what I mean? Have like an open forum where like maybe you wouldn't influence a younger audience to like a certain ideology or narrative or. But it's like nowadays kids are hearing everything. Like it's unreal.
Yeah.
A kid could just get on YouTube and watch the Alex Jones podcast. I think he's a great guy and a lot of his ideas are great, but like they could listen to the Alex Jones podcast and now as a little kid, their whole personality is Alex Jones.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like there's got to be like a way to age restrict things, and there is, but also that restricts the content in general because there's a lot of kids on YouTube and Facebook and yada yada.
And then it becomes a question about like the freedom of information.
Yep.
And do we hide this from certain people or do we not? I mean, even censorship in other countries, they don't censor certain words throughout the day. Like in America, I believe it's after 10 p.m., then you can swear on cable, but before that, you can't say anything. Whereas in the UK, they're not censoring anything at all. That's why Adult Swim, they're allowed to swear on Adult Swim, but not Cartoon Network. It's right when it switches over.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I just thought it was just like the adults late at night, they stay up late. That was like my idea of it.
That is the philosophy of it, I believe.
Yeah. Like they were probably like, okay, this is when the adults are up. We'll let them say the F word a little bit, like.
But in the end, it's like what you're claiming by having that be how we censor is that those words are dangerous, and that if a kid hears those words, they might develop different ideas, different ideals. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I think it's about how you teach your kids.
100%.
Yeah.
100. There's definitely ways to, there's definitely ways to make sure your kid grows up right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and the exposure is something you almost can't prevent now.
You really can't, yeah. Especially now. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's, like I said, technology has just gone, it went from, dial-up internet. Real quick. Like from dial-up to under-the-ground cable. I forgot what it's called, but like...
Oh, fiber wire, I think.
Yeah, like fiber optic cables, and it's like 3 gigabytes upload speed and down, and you're like, what? Like, I could download a whole Call of Duty 80, 90 gigabyte game in 5 minutes. And back in 2010, 2012, even 2015, this would have took me an hour and a half.
You were investing in your day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're like, once you started a download of a video game or a movie or something, that was a good 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
You weren't touching the computer.
You open a book and read 5 chapters while the game downloads. You had to pass the time back in the day.
I think inherently technology is going in a good direction, though. You know what I mean? You want faster stuff. You want better to eat, better to, like, easier to use, more easily accessible things. You know what I mean?
Progressive in that nature.
100%.
We are focused on progress with technology 100%. I think the scary part comes in when it's like there's multiple things. It's like, for one, how does it affect us as people? Because we don't
100%.
have a long-term understanding of that. It
Yeah.
just doesn't exist. There's no way to know what holding a cell phone and seeing all this stuff every day does to your brain long-term until we move a few generations down the line and really see those long-term effects.
That's crazy because I had mentioned, like, you're a kid, you think adults got all the answers, and it's like, no, we're still trying to figure things out, and some things could be inherently wrong right now, and we really won't know until however many generations, until the effect has already like happened. It's crazy. It's kind of like an experience thing. Humans got to experience things, and we're going through that phase right now.
Yeah.
Certain things might work, some things might not, but we're going to try it all right now, you know?
I think the other scary part, though, is a scientist is the one to poke that bear. Like, the scientists are the ones that are going to go a little bit too far just to see what they can do.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
AI, you see that a lot with AI nowadays, where it's interesting watching it progress. It's interesting seeing this technology advance. ChatGPT, if you've heard of that.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that is crazy.
The stuff that it's capable of. I was using a more iterative version. It's the same company, OpenAI, but they had it released where it was just, you could type anything and ask it anything. What I was doing is I was trying to challenge it. I would put, like, write a joke about this. I would write the story of Shrek in the style of a horror movie. And it would work. Like, it would actually transform Shrek into a horror movie just through text. So it's capable of this abstract thinking. And then,
so crazy.
Yeah, and that was, when I was doing all that was about a year ago, 8 months ago when it first came around. ChatGPT is a more advanced version of that. So it's capable of coding. It's capable of doing all this stuff where it's not only is it just doing what you want it to do, it's as if it's thinking. It's as if
it's got a real brain.
Thinking. And when you
crazy.
think about it that way, like, we're getting really close to something sentient, and when that occurs,
that's a little bit scary.
That's the scary part. Yeah,
that's definitely a little bit scary.
And it's almost an inevitability. Like, that's why you see a lot of scientists who are talking about things like that. Like, oh well, Lex Friedman talks about this a lot. He has a love for robots in this sense. He'll talk about robots on his podcast as if they're listening in the future.
Yeah,
he tries not to trash talk them, because what if you do that and you're on record?
Yeah, they might. It might be a thing. The robots might come get you.
Yeah, if they're sentient, imagine that. If someone was trash talking the rest of your race, you'd be like, "What? Whoa! Us robots?
What did
you
robots
humans?
do?" Yep.
What did we do? I didn't do that. So in that sense, what I was saying, they poke the bear. Like, even though these people want to advance robots, I don't really see it thrown around a lot. The whole question of, like, what happens once they develop that sentience? What stops a robot from changing their mind about a human? What stops that? What
100%.
if you put a gun on a robot and you let that robot run around?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man, that robot might have some ideas of his own. Yeah.
The robot
man.
might say, "Oh, you know what? I'm way more powerful than these guys. Let's be real.
I'm a robot."
I'm a robot. One thing that blew my mind, I think I saw this in the Lex Friedman interview with the guy who made the Bethesda games, Todd Howard. And Todd Howard was talking about how when you're making AI for a video game, you have to dumb it down. So you can't make it as good as it can be, because then it's not fun for the player anymore, because the robot's way smarter than you.
Yep.
So they're dumbing these things down on purpose just so we can have fun with them. Just the concept of that is scary alone. That means they're already ahead of us.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you think about it, computers, a computer, you type something in Google, it's up in 3 seconds. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Information on a whole entire article of a whole entire thing you wanted to know. You now know everything about it.
Yeah.
Or like math, like a calculator. You put it in there, boom, done. You know what I mean? Any problem at all, ever, done. Any math equation, it's just at the palm of your hands. We have it at the palm of our hands typically. Like, even kids in school nowadays. Like, I remember there were phones, but like, you weren't using the calculator in the phone that often. And then I remember it was like a whole shift, and now like a majority of, let's say, middle schoolers even probably have a phone with a calculator. They're probably doing a lot of their math homework with a calculator and just figuring out how to show the work. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to me. Like, and just seeing that, like, I've seen, the crazy as this may be, I've seen a human that's faster than a calculator before. That is the thing. Like, humans are still there. But that's like one guy
Yeah.
out of like however many billion people are on Earth.
And he's probably a savant. He's probably just that is him filling in for something else. Usually people that are that good at something like that, like they have some type of autism even.
Yeah,
there's
like
a
just
reason
something
he's
different.
that smart. It's not, but like what you're saying, I feel like when you see those things, then we can observe the short-term effects of technology on humans.
100%.
You can see clearly, like, you can observe it in yourself. You use Google Maps all the time. When's the last time you pulled out a map and used a map to navigate? And if you didn't have Google Maps, if someone took your phone away and they gave you an address, how would you get there? If you had no access.
No idea how to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And same thing with calculators. You spend too much time in that calculator, you're
gonna forget it.
putting that part of your brain, you're relying that on the machine, so you never learn that skill. You never develop that pattern. And
That's
I think
so crazy.
that's the short-term effect right there, is then we start to see these smaller differences. That's why I think Teslas are almost even a little bit dangerous, because it's like, you're going to forget how to drive. You need that.
It's a little bit scary in general. I feel like if they can inherently make the roads Tesla like we've both said, AI is smarter than us, you know? Majority of the time an AI is not going to crash. But like on regular roads with regular people also on the road driving, anything is inevitable. You know what I mean? If there was a way that Tesla could implement the roads into the cars and every single human that was on the road had an electric vehicle that could self-drive, the chances of something bad happening are tenfold lower. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because then you're not worrying about the risk of the human. You're worried about the risk of the robot, and that's so much lower. Yeah,
Right.
The human's unpredictable.
But
the human
it's-
could be eating a burrito. And
Yeah, you know
bump
what I
his
mean?
elbow on the
Bump his
wheel.
elbow, yeah. So it's like, and the problem I see with that is just the infrastructure of roads. Like, you know, it took them a relatively long time to get where we're at right now with roads. You know what I mean? We're like, right now, we're just getting comfortable when it comes to roads and where they're going and where all they're at. They're going to have to figure out some sort of software or some sort of something to make the roads work for these cars. And not just the major roads either, you know? Like, what about Jimmy, who has a 2018 Tesla and he lives in the suburbs of yada yada and they have regular roads and they have no technology in the roads? And what if the road that has the technology with it, you drop off onto a regular road and you're in self-driving or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
That's an accident. It's just, there's a lot of like risks with that. But like, all in all, I think it would be a positive thing if they did it right. I don't think releasing self-driving right now with no other technology to back it other than just the sonar that's around the car is like the smartest idea, because like you had said, bumping him, you know, dude could bump a burrito and he's right next to you. Your sonar or whatever it's called is detecting he's right next to you, but he still smacks you. You know what I mean? What's the sonar going to do? Is it like a force field? You know, like
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that. You know?
Like there's a car on your left, there's a car on your right,
Yeah.
on your right smacks into you. What was the car gonna do?
Yeah,
There's
you know what I mean?
nothing
Yeah,
that you
you're
could have
driving
done.
straight, but there's nothing you could have done, you know? And if all cars were driving in sequence with some sort of technology, things would be much different. I mean, we see it in computers. Yeah, they do crash. Computers crash. And I'm not sure how that would you know, equal out to a road situation. Like, you would hope you wouldn't get like some crazy freak accident, but
You don't want to be the glitch.
right, yeah, you don't want to be the glitch, because the glitch is like the bad part. But I don't know. It's crazy. I do think in general it's a good idea to like get self-driving cars going, but there's pros and cons, just like to a majority of what's going on, you know, nowadays. You know, there's pros and cons to it. If they do things right, though, man, it would be awesome just to sit in your car and not have to worry and go all the way to California.
Yeah.
Barely spend any money on gas. The car pulls up to the electric pump thing for you. Only thing you gotta do is get out and put it in. You know what I mean? Like, that would be amazing. Or maybe not even that. Maybe you just drive over like a platform and it just charges your car. You sit there for 30
the road
minutes.
itself charges the car.
Yeah, they were thinking about that here in Michigan, in Detroit. They were thinking, no, Lansing, I think, one of them two cities. But they were talking about a charging road where like they pay like a monthly subscription to be able to use the road, and like the roads will be like 20 or 30 miles, like enough to give you another 40, 50 miles of like charge. You know what I mean?
And that's a step in the direction of what you're saying. Too.
Literally, yeah. And imagine, say you live very close to one of those roads and you get back and forth to work every day. You know, you would never have to charge your car.
Yeah.
You would really never have to essentially worry about gas money if you pay your $20 a month subscription. You know,
That's true.
if you live in like a good vicinity of one of those things, you know.
Yeah.
Say you take the highway to work, just hop on the charging road, you know, and Go to work. You ain't got to worry about it. I mean, yeah, you use more power driving, but you got 40% more of your power back. You're using 40% less.
Yeah. Not
That's
only
crazy.
that, but like you have extra time even while you're on that road. That time is your time now. Whatever you're doing in the car, you have time to do.
Yep.
If you're a rapper like you and I, you could pop a beat
Pop a
on.
beat
You could
on,
write
yep.
while you're going somewhere.
Imagine like what that would do for just people in general, because car accidents are like a big deal. You know, like a lot of car accidents happen every year. So like even getting 50% of the car accidents we have currently would be amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's 50%, or even if 20% of those people lose their lives, that's still lives saved. You know
It's
what
got
I
to be
mean?
a high cause of death.
Yeah, yeah.
Just everywhere.
Especially in big major cities. Like,
course.
I'm sure you've been in areas where the traffic is just horrendous.
Like LA, like you were
Oh
saying,
my
5
God.
lanes and it's you're not even moving.
And people do not care. They don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready to die. Like they're hitting. I'm like, yo, like they're going 95 on like LA's biggest highway, and I'm like, bro, there is 400 cars around you right now.
Yep.
One small move and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't care. They're like, oh, like God, take the wheel. Like,
And in their brain, like, they'll be fine when it's like what we were saying before. It's the other person's error that kills you.
Yep.
It's usually not you. Like, you could drive perfectly, but you come whipping around like that and they didn't see you. That's what's gonna get you hurt. 'Cause they'll go like 5 inches between the next car too, like just to
that's
get
so scary.
crossing lanes.
I hate that.
Oh,
that is
my
my
Lord.
biggest pet peeve. I'm like, why are you like? I get you need to get over, but throw on your blinkers. Somebody will slow down and let you get in. You don't gotta like risk it for the biscuit and say fuck everybody and everybody's lives around you. You know
And
what I mean?
logistically speaking, you're probably only getting there 10 minutes faster at most. Like, most of the time,
Yeah,
speeding
yeah.
on the highway like that doesn't get you places that much faster.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
And
do
it-
the math. It's not going to add up to much.
Is it worth your life?
Yes.
That's really what, like, is it worth your life?
Yeah, let's do a risk analysis here. I bet you...
I bet you getting yelled at by your boss for being 10 minutes late is better than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I preach like to a lot of my friends. I'm like, hey man, maybe you should just wake up a little bit earlier. I know it sucks. Everybody hates early mornings, you know? I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people do, you know? So it's like, just wake up 10 minutes earlier, you know? That 10 minutes that you would have been late, wake up a little bit earlier. Anything could happen on the way to work. Hopefully it doesn't. But if you wake up 10 minutes earlier, you're lowering your chances because you're probably not speeding to work. You don't need to speed to work, you know? You can go you're 45 on the roads. You don't got to go 65, you know what I mean, to make sure you make it to work on time or have any sort of like because you feel like there's like a pull or like a strain or they have something over you, you know what I mean, like at a regular job if you don't make it on time or, you know, just wake up a little bit earlier. Maybe it'll combat that.
yeah, yeah. You don't need all that adrenaline.
Oh, yeah.
That adrenaline be running through you when you're running late, too.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting there
It's
behind the
scary.
wheel like, shit, get out from in front of me, you asshole! Can't you see I'm running late here? I know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
I'm chronically late. You're giving me advice that I need. I just never take it.
Oh, I feel you. I mean, I'm now, like more now than ever, I'm more on time. But like, man, I was the guy who was 20 minutes late. You were like, bro, you said you were on your way 10 minutes ago. And I'm like, yeah. I didn't even have pants on. Like, I didn't have my shirt on. I was out here winging it.
In my
like-
mind, I was on my way.
Right, yeah. But I had some things I had to do before I even got in the car to actually be on my way.
Yeah. I just wanted to reconfirm that I was going to be there.
Yeah, I wanted to confirm you were still home, too. Because if I just show up 20, 30 minutes late and you're not home, I'll be like, damn.
Damn, I missed my window.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like it's more common than people like to admit. I really think so.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe that's
100%.
me just comforting myself, but I really think it's true. And also, I've heard of cultures where they don't care if you're late, so that kind of makes me think maybe it's even an American thing. Like,
It probably is. It
Yeah.
probably is.
and again, maybe I'm just comforting myself, but like to me, that doesn't represent professionalism. What represents professionalism is when you're there, do you utilize the time properly?
100%.
To me, that's what's important.
Especially if you can get the same work that someone else does done earlier or quicker with the same, the same quality in like not quantity over quantity, but the same quality, always go for it. You know what I mean? That's really the best method.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of creative people, even, you have to deal with the fact that, oh, this person's a fashionably late guy.
Yep.
You'll hear about that a lot. Like, a lot of rap stars they're fashionistas, dog.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like 30
Yeah.
minutes late to everything.
Might take them a minute because we're rolling up weed, fucking maybe even so much as writing a verse on the way there. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I know I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'll sometimes get a beat put on while I'm driving somewhere and just think in my head, and maybe when I stop at a light, pop in a note right quick. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I thought of that bar. Let me put that down.
Because you got to capture it.
Yeah, if you don't capture it, it's gone.
Yep. Yep.
My stoner mind, if I don't capture whatever I'm thinking about right now, poof.
Yeah, I heard
Gone.
Ab-Soul say he doesn't write anything down. Okay, that's good for you, man. Like, I heard him explaining it once, and he was saying, if the idea is good enough, it's going to stick with me. And I'm just thinking, what?
I wish. I smoked so much weed. That's not happening.
I don't even think, like, for me, I don't even think it's that. I could be sober for a month, and then I try to write something. Like, if I didn't write it down, it'll be hours later, and I'll be like, wait a minute, and I'll try to capture that thread of thought that led me to that one thought, but I won't. I'll have lost it. Having
Facts.
Conversations.
Facts.
Like, we'll be talking about
Facts.
something, but you'll say 5 other things, and then it's like, oh, well, I only remember the last thing you said now.
Yeah, now I'm going to reply to that.
Like, how do you hold on to musical ideas in such a way? So good for Ab-Soul, but I could never.
Yeah, my mind, I have to get it down. Mm-hmm. Like, right away, like, especially, like I mentioned, in the car, or when I'm with, like, say I'm just playing video games with a buddy or something, or, like, I think of a bar, like, while I'm all right, I need to pause this, I need to go, hurry up and write it down right quick. I'm an avid and firm believer in writing things down, only because I go back on the things that I've written, you know what I mean? And I overlook it, see if it's what I want to say, see if I said it the right way, you know? And that's not to put down or, like, step down on anybody who is able to put things out and it come out right and them not have to write things down. I've just found personally, for me, writing in general is a much easier way to make the craft, to be able to have it rehearsed, ready to go. Because there's a lot of artists that I've seen in the studio, it takes them 5 hours to write one song or to get one song done.
Yeah, that's perfectionism right there.
Me? Dude, I'll do 10. I'll do
Yeah.
10 in that same 5 hour time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's because that person, yeah, they can freestyle or they can do this or they can do that. And that's awesome for them, you know? But it's harder for them to stay on the same cadence. It's harder for them to remember what they said. It's harder for them to re-perform what they said. They don't have anything written down or to have any sort of, like, look back on, okay, this is what I just did. You know what I mean? It's not fully unorganized, but I feel as if, as an artist, coming more organized is so much better. You know what I mean?
agree.
Like, things are so much better.
I had a friend who freestyled everything, and you can only help people so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
We would make stuff together, and it was like, he would do it in the moment, and what he did was good, but how are you going to replicate that? If you ever go on stage, what are you going to do? And I think his answer was, I'll just freestyle the whole different verse on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, yeah, that'll work. Only so long. People want to learn the songs. They want to rap with you.
Yep.
But you can't teach some people. Like, it's because that was just his way of looking at it. Is like, that was what it was. I freestyle. So
that's like my little cousin 4am, the last work of art that I just did, Riley and Huey. It was a me and him collaborative album, and that whole album, he freestyled it.
Yep.
He's very like I'll sit with this kid for 6 hours and he'll spit bars.
Yeah.
6 hours straight, and I'm like, man, like, I wish I could do that. I mean, at one point I could spit like more freestyle. I could do more freestyles, you know what I mean? And I can still freestyle, but like, this kid is crazy.
It's the versatility is what really surprises me. Like, when someone's able to freestyle, but they're able to not say the same thing 100 times.
Facts. And that's really hard too, especially like when you write a song down, you're like, damn, like, you repeat the bar in a freestyle or you say something in a freestyle, you're like, dang, like, might be getting old. Maybe they've heard it before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it becomes a filler phrase.
Yeah. There's a lot of filler phrases in rap, I think.
I think so.
A lot of them.
But with freestyling, it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
develops their own is the funny part, too.
Yeah. That's funny that you say that. They
Like
really
Harry
do.
Mack. Are you familiar with Harry Mack?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
He's
I've
like,
heard of him.
his freestyle skills are out of this world, but he's been harnessing them for the last like 10, 15 years. That's as a freestyle rapper. Like he still drops his own stuff, but his freestyling is just phenomenal. And so when I say his own stuff, I mean written material.
Yeah.
But his phrase used to be Harry Mack in the place to be. Like Harry Mack, it would always be Harry Mack something. Like he would say Harry Mack and then describe the thing that he's doing. So it's like, for me, I noticed even in the last podcast I freestyled, and I was a little bit rusty, I will say, which is probably fine. People probably don't even care. They don't even notice that. They just pay attention to the freestyle.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But I'm giving myself an out. That's what I'm doing. So I kept saying, like, motherfuckers. I would say motherfuckers, like, every couple lines. I noticed that when I was watching it back. Not while I was doing it, but when I was watching it back, I'm like, damn, I keep saying that word.
It's weird because we are our worst critic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you mentioned, a lot of times people are just listening to the art. They're not gonna notice the 4 times you might have said motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like or the once or twice you might have said dog, or you know what I mean? Just different words that come out, or you might have repeated, and it's like it's crazy because us as artists, we know that, you know, we're like, damn, I messed up right there. I probably need to redo that. And then people listen to the song and they're like, where did you mess up at? And you're like, you didn't notice that? Okay, maybe I should just be quiet. Like,
it's kind of the art of the freestyle, even as you learn to roll with it. You allow that to happen.
Yep.
Like a true freestyler knows that even when you mess up, that's just an opportunity to do something else.
Yep.
I mean, you have to own it. I mean, improv comedy is that for a reason. When you see, it's all yes and. You never know, but it's always yes and. You take what that was and you roll with it. I talked about this with Jackman Raps. It's something I live by. Life is a freestyle in the sense
it really
that,
is, yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you're writing, the reason you can write 10 songs in 5 hours, write a whole EP, because you are applying that method, that freestyle-ish method, into the writing process. It's like, oh, this is what it is. I'm not going to try to make it perfect. I'm going to allow each song to be what it's supposed to be. And then they just come flowing right out. I mean, I think that it's mastering that. You know, sometimes you're writing a song and you're like, oh, this just isn't coming out right. So put the song down and let it be
come
for
back
a little
later
bit.
on. Yeah,
and then later
I
you
do
come
that
back,
a
you
lot.
freestyle on top of it. You write it in 2 minutes.
Honestly, I do that so often.
Yep.
Like I'll write half of a song and then afterwards, like after, you know, I'm like, man, I'm really not feeling it right now. You know what I mean? Maybe the beat's not hitting. Maybe something happened in real life where outside of me writing this song, you know, that I have to go attend to, or just anything like that, any type of distraction. And then I'll come back to it, let's say maybe a few hours later, and I'll have a whole new, fresh slate ready to write down brand new bars, a whole new ideas even too, because while you're writing and while you're making music, you might not be thinking what you could be thinking in the next 20 minutes. That's like a philosophy that I go by, especially when writing music, is like, you don't want to write something right away. You know, you want to give it, I mean, at least a couple of hours. At least give it some time to sit back, maybe go eat some food, maybe watch a TV show, then come back to it. You don't got to take forever to do it, you know what I mean? But just always go back to it. Never let anything be 100% this is that, because you'll notice a lot of times you will go out and do something and then you'll be like, dang, I could have done that better. And it would have been something really small that you might have remembered in 20 minutes. Or you might have went back, or the idea might have popped into your head a little bit beforehand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy, but I really do practice and like preach, like, especially for like people who write their music, like, go back to it. You know, you might not like what you put down right then and there, or you might love it so much that you're able to write a whole nother verse on it.
Yeah.
And it could open, you know, many, many more opportunities and ideas.
And that thing that's happening in your brain, like, why is that happening? Why are you questioning what you wrote? Because you know that you're capable of something better than that.
Something better, yeah.
So approach it again in a different way. I mean, I even did that just yesterday. I was recording a verse, and I just changed the way I was pronouncing the words, and it sounded 10 times better.
Yep.
Like, rather than rapping in this voice, I rapped in this voice, or whatever. Like, I just went a different direction with it, and that's what made it what it was. I'll do that a lot, where I'm recording, and I'll find it in the recording session. Like, I wrote it, and I know it's good, but when I get behind the microphone, I just change it because I'm hearing it through the head. I'm hearing it a different way, and seeing it in a different light. you have to have that different perspective. I think that's important. And you got to kind of like take yourself out of it sometimes. Like allow yourself to look at that like someone else would look at it. Because when you're in the middle of a writing process, it's like, oh, it's 3 a.m. and we've been mixing this song all night. And then you listen to it the next morning and it sounds like trash. Oh. Yeah, because you stayed up till 3 a.m. diving so deep into it, you didn't give yourself any time to let it simmer.
Sit back and simmer. Yep. I think it's just really important, you know, like I remember in English class growing up, they would teach you like write a rough draft, you know what I mean? That's really essentially what a lot of my music starts off as is it's just a rough draft, you know? 4, 6, 8 bars that I wrote down that I might not ever use again, you know? Or it might be the whole entire concept of a whole entire song, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, it's definitely very, very important to live by that thing, especially while writing music, because you can do a lot better. Every human can do better than their initial thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, do you think Kendrick Lamar's album came about at random? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That was he took his time. You know, there's some songs he might not have put in there, but all the songs he did put in there, I'm sure he went through and he figured out what worked and what didn't work. And I mean, one of the best, greatest artists ever, you know what I mean?
I mean, Ye even goes to the extent where I think it was My Beautiful Dark... No, it wasn't My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. It was The Life of Pablo. But after that album came out, he started refiguring the songs, and only someone with his type of sway could do this. Like, I'd have to take the song down completely and repost it. He was changing the mixes after they were already on streaming services.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
Yeah, you would hear the song when it first came out, and then you'd hear it a week later, and all of a sudden there's not a drum break right here, or just random little things that he did. And it's subjective, too. You could prefer the first version.
Yeah.
And the only way you'll ever be able to find it is through some obscure YouTube video now, because he changed the one that he released.
I did not know you could. I wonder if that's just how they were back then.
I think it's his popularity that allowed him to do it.
Yeah. Maybe they're like, okay, we'll do it for you. Yeah,
exactly.
Like, any regular Tom, Dick, or Harry, you're not gonna be able to change that mix. Once it's there, boys. So make sure you do it right.
Yeah, they even warn you on like the public ones, like the ones that make it like DistroKid, CD Baby, all of these. They'll tell you like make sure they'll tell you over and over and over again. Make sure your mix is 100% the one you want, because otherwise we're not giving you your money back. You're re-uploading it, you're paying us again. Like, that's not how this deal works.
And then technically even, they don't have to pay you any money on a re-upload unless you delete your previous upload. Because like in their terms and conditions, I'm a weird guy, I read terms and conditions.
Yeah.
In the terms and conditions, it says not to upload the same audio twice.
Really?
Yeah. So like, for instance, if you have a different version of a song, it's essentially the same lyrics, the same audio. You have to change it up somehow. You have to have a different, like, you can't literally drop the same song twice. Because they take it as like you're trying to...
It'd be like spam.
Yeah, like spam. You know, you want, like, oh, your first version of it only made $30. Your second version now made $500. You know what I mean? Like, they want you to keep one and not oversaturate the industry, because it's already a very saturated music industry. I mean...
Wow. I think it's as oversaturated as it's ever been.
Yeah, they say that there's, if I'm not mistaken, my numbers could be wrong, but like 200,000 songs uploaded per day.
200,000?
Per day.
Jesus.
Yeah. That is...
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, 10% of them artists are ones making the money. Maybe not even 10%. So like... The other however many thousand are the ones putting it out there right now off the love, which it's great, but it's like there's so many.
And you don't want to be. I mean, you're gonna be one of those when you start, most likely, unless you've developed some big group of people that will support you and follow you, which usually is not the case.
Yeah, a majority of the time, or unless you're married to a famous guy, or your dad's famous, or
connections.
Connections. Connections is a really, really, really big part of like doing anything.
It is the most important part, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't think that anything is more important than the connections you make.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. Because like, you don't even have to make quote unquote good music, because that's even subjective. But you don't have to make good music to blow up if your connections are there. If you have if you're Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's son and your uncle happens to be Kevin Hart, you're up. you're good for the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
Willow Smith.
Yeah,
she was set from day one.
Yeah, you don't have to do what the average Tom, Dick, or Harry does. I mean, I'm sure you have your own set of challenges and things like that, but like it's definitely not as hard for you. So like connections in general, if you can get the right connections, especially early in your career, and you can listen to those connections, stay connected with those connections, and utilize them. I mean, like you said, it's probably it's the number one thing. Like you need good connections, 100%.
Yeah. Like look at yourself like a sponge.
Yeah,
right? You're just
Soak it
soaking
all
up
up.
all of this.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's important. It's important to have those people around because not only do you turn into whatever that energy is they're giving out, but you also, like you said at the very end there, the most important part, if you ask me, is utilize those connections.
Yes,
you can
for
know
sure.
the right people, but if you don't know how to approach them in a progressive, creative way, if you don't know how to gain something, how to push something out of the both of you, then they're not going to be wanting to work with you either. You
Yep.
could know somebody that knows how to do all these things, but if you're coming at them with a nothing offer, then you're not giving them anything. They don't see anything in it. Whereas if you have somebody that's like a mentor to you, or somebody that you know has a buzz, and you're in with them, work with them, do a podcast, do a song, like do
100%.
anything. It doesn't even have to be of the medium that you are going for. It's just utilizing that connection. It has a butterfly effect. Like, oh, the person that knows that person saw that you because they saw that you worked with them. It's like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
so far away from Kevin Bacon. We're all connected to one another, but the more you spider web out, the easier it is for people to come back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why Joe Rogan is so ridiculously successful, because his entire platform is literally just talking to other people.
I know. I watch an unhealthy amount of Joe Rogan.
I mean, I will admit it. He's one of my inspirations when it comes
Yeah,
to my podcast, because I
100%.
do the same exact format as him. I mean, yeah, I'll come in with questions, but that's only to be, prepared. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
really,
have to be prepared to some extent.
most of what we've done here had nothing to do with our questions.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. And well, yeah, I mean, as a podcaster and someone who's looking up to someone as great as Joe Rogan, you want to come prepared. You want to do things the right way. You know what I
Or
mean?
at least do things in your own way.
Yeah, in your own way.
Yeah.
100%. That's a way better way to put it.
Yeah, like you don't have to be Joe Rogan,
Yeah,
but you want to
yeah.
be something. Like you don't want to be the guy who's forcing the podcast, who's forcing himself to be in this position. It's like own whatever it is that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so for me, I discovered I'm good at getting people going, and then I'll just talk with them. That's what I like to do. It's not even like it's something that I'm forcing myself to do. It's something that I do naturally. Every single podcast, I'll talk with the person for 30 minutes beforehand.
Yeah,
and
he
it's all
does.
stuff we could have stuck the microphone in front of us
Yep,
and went, but we just didn't, because that's what I'm already doing anyways. But it's like capitalizing on that part of yourself and allowing that to be what it is, or even harnessing that, I mean, maybe there's a piece of that in you, but I don't think that my podcasting skills or even my music writing skills or any of that were what they are now, and they wouldn't be unless I spent the time perfecting that craft.
It and going into it and just really learning hands-on too. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure you've had plenty bumps in the roads and
But
hiccups.
you got to be a
and
sponge. Mm-hmm. You got to, every single bump, every time that you see that you did something wrong, you have to allow that to absorb,
100%.
See it for
100%.
what it is, not for what you thought it would be, but what it actually objectively is. Like, oh, I thought that podcast went great, but then you go back and watch it, and you were just talking over that motherfucker the whole time.
No, yeah.
Or you just kept talking about the same thing. Like, you can spot those patterns in yourself, and then once you do, you gotta be progressive about it. Be like, oh well, the stuff that I listen to doesn't do that, so how do I not do that? Like, how would I? If I were a fan of this, what would entertain me? I think that's what the best creatives do. They make things that are engaging because they're engaged within it. I mean, they just allow that creative spark to happen. It's not something that is. I think it's easier done than said.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
You learn through doing it.
Yeah, it really is easier done than said, for sure, 100%. And it's hard sometimes even teaching people that, because you have to let them learn for themselves, Mm-hmm. It's like yeah, I could tell you how to do this, but if you're not hands-on yourself, it's going to be really hard for anything to happen with the information that I gave you. You know what I mean?
And I think conversations are even like that. You
Yeah.
lock people inside for a year, they're going to suck at talking to one another.
Oh yeah. They've done had a million thoughts. They've done talked to themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've
been
forgot
talking
the
to
process.
themselves. I swear.
But I mean, like, part of me likes it for that reason even. Like, when I do podcasts, when stuff like this, I'm engaging within the action. I'm doing the thing. I'm reminding myself how it works.
Yep,
It's like
yep.
writing music. You got to keep yourself writing. Don't let yourself go on a creative... Like, don't forget about it and don't do it for 6 months, because then you come back and you feel like an alien to your own thing.
Yep.
Where it's like you want to keep that alive in you. I mean... And you see people improve right in front of your eyes. That's the other thing that
Yeah,
reminds me.
I love seeing people improve too. That's something that's humbling too. Like looking at someone and being like, wow, like at one point I might not have liked their music or I might not have liked their movies or whatever, but now it's like, wow, like they're doing great, you know, like it's good, you know, it's humbling too, because it's like not everybody starts out being, you know, an Eminem, a Rihanna, Beyonce, you know, not everyone starts out being that great. And eventually, a lot of hard work, a lot of mess ups, a lot of this, a lot of that, and made a Beyonce. You know what I mean? Beyonce probably was that person one day, you know? A lot of bumps, a lot of hiccups. Now she's top dog, you know? Music industry guru, you know? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And you don't get it without the bumps or hiccups.
You never do. It's not like... I don't think there's one person that's, like, ridiculously famous right now that hasn't had any hiccups or bumps.
Or, like, even... if you like, maybe they haven't had them publicly.
Yeah,
but it's like
yeah.
you speak with that person, and all of a sudden there's this stuff that goes deep within them. It goes way back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that they're searching for that type of attention. Even like a lot of the time, you'll notice like a lot of these people, our comedians are depressed people. They search for comedy to fill that void, whatever that is. That's how they fight it. A lot of musicians I've noticed have that type of depth to them. That's why I like speaking with musicians a lot of the time, because we're all deeper than it seems. Like every single song is just a scratch at the surface.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
And it's that duality within them that allows them to create. It's kind of why I think a lot of music that doesn't resonate for a reason. It's like they're not presenting that depth, that either they don't have it or they're not presenting it in the right light. They're not
100%.
showing how deep they can actually go. I mean, you know, it's like, that's why I get so tired of like rap that glorifies negative lifestyles, or it's just like it's a sex song, it's a gun toting song, it's a gang banging song. It's like, okay, you can write that, but if you're only just saying the same thing you said in the last 10 songs, where are we going with this?
Right.
What are we doing here?
I think the way that I look at it is like certain things are like a market to be cornered, you know what I mean? Like especially because certain individuals really do a lot of these things, you know what I mean? Like certain individuals, and I'm not obviously I don't want to put no names. I'm going to say, you know, law-abiding citizens, sir, you know what I mean? But like a lot of people really do live in these type of environments. Maybe they have nothing to do with it themselves, you know what I mean? But like they've seen it, and a lot of people in those environments don't have very many people to relate to, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, rightfully so, like things like that are not glorified typically, you know what I mean? So like I guess it heeds to like certain people's like lifestyles in like a very odd way. I don't know how to explain it, but like
I think that's a good way to put it.
I
think
like,
that it is true that it's something that it's like when NWA released "Fuck the Police."
Yeah,
that
it's
had
like
an effect because it resonated with so many people. It was something that they already felt, but they could not express.
It wasn't normal, or like you didn't hear somebody saying this, or like that's like shout out to Rio to Young OG, Free Rio. You already fucking know. But like in general, like that's what Rio to Young OG like brought to the table. Like he might have songs talking about toting guns, doing drugs, fucking bitches, hoes, money, you know, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But like the way that he brought it to light made it to where people were really able to relate to the content, you know. Not every single aspect of the content, but it's more or less like I'm saying something you see but you're afraid to say.
Yeah.
And like I think that whole idea in general is great. Now obviously there's certain songs by certain artists that are just like, okay, maybe you shouldn't have dropped that one, you know. Maybe like disrespect comes in levels. Like some artists, but the crazy thing about it though is one thing you'll notice: some artists are ready to die behind their craft.
Yeah.
Like they're that confident in themselves.
Tom McDonald, I would say that guy.
Yeah. He
does not back down.
But like even like people in like areas of like low income, like gang ridden areas, you see them dissing ops and they do not care. You know what I mean? They're at the point where it's like, I already think I'm gonna die tomorrow, so why not make this song and put it out? Why not basically uninherently tell on myself, but there be no evidence, so they can't use that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy because artists in music in general is such like a spectrum of people, you know? You'll see like there's rappers like NF. Like I love NF, great rapper. He's looked at as like a Christian gospel rapper, but he's really not, you know, like he doesn't say any cuss words in his music though. He's real straightforward, but he still has like a gritty outlook, you know what I mean? Like he's looked upon as like this, you know, holy yada yada whoop de whoop, like from a lot of people, but like he's a regular guy.
He's a Christian rapper, and they immediately make the mind up though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's also a very messed up thing. I know tons of Christian artists that are just amazing.
There's
and
a lot
they're
of them
not
you
even,
wouldn't even know they're Christian artists until someone tells you.
100%. But like, even
his approach is real. I mean, you can tell it's coming from him.
Yeah, 100%.
He's not trying to, you know, appeal to God in his hip hop, and that's the ultimate message. It's like he's doing the same thing other rappers do. It's just that's also part of who he is.
Yeah, and like even artists like him, like they have like a darker, deeper side. Maybe they're not like talking about guns or like hoes or violence or, you know, different things like that, but he does have a dark side and he does rap about it. I just think certain people have like a more in-depth dark side, and it's like, and I think that's why like a lot of people relate to like street rappers and like rappers who have been in gangs and like things like that, is because like either they want to be that, or they've been through that, or they've seen that and grown up with that, and they're like, okay, this is really what I relate to. Being as messed up as it is, you know what I mean? It's like certain areas and certain people, that's just all they've ever loved, all they've ever lived, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, they don't know anything else. So like they hear a NF song, you know, and they're like, wow, he's not cussing, he's not talking about my big gun, and like, you know, just like the different things that people say, you know. It's weird how music is and how many different people can really be reached by music. You know what I mean?
Interesting. So it's almost as if rather than identifying it, it broadens your perspective to something you're not even aware of for a lot of people. I mean, like seeing that reminds you that there is a world bigger than you out there.
100%.
And that's why you'll see a lot of like 40-year-old moms bumping 50 Cent.
You're like, wow.
They will never be and have never been 50 Cent.
Yeah.
But they identify with it in some strange way.
Like somehow Candy Shop hits, and they're just like, I went to the candy shop, or I don't know how they relate to it, but like, you know, like it just relates to me.
Like to spark with them somehow.
That's another good thing about music, is like there's like this idea of what a person is supposed to look like behind the music, or like what a person is supposed to say and do. But it's like, that's just never been the case. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like never, even in time, you know, a certain individual looking a certain way is not supposed to make a certain kind of anything, you know, like we're artists all in all in general. You know what I mean? Like we can do any type of music, and that's where like the idea of like white rapper comes about. You know, it's like, I mean, I'm sure people listen up, bro. Just because somebody is a white rapper does not mean identify them as just a white rapper.
Yeah.
Or the Eminem comparison. That is getting so old. So old. Like, I don't want to be compared to Eminem, you know what I mean? I don't want to be just called the white rapper. Like, just put my rap name on there. Or, you know, use a different defining feature of my music. Not just that my skin is white, or that I look like or sound like Eminem, or, you know, or sometimes, you know what I mean? You'll show somebody a song and they'll immediately go to Eminem, and it literally sounds nothing like Eminem. And that's how you know it's like, this is a bias, and a really odd one at that. Artists are like so much bigger than what you would think. You know what I mean? Like the quote unquote nerd from up the road could make the craziest music, you know what I mean? And you would never know. And you listen to it and it sounds like a person you would think is completely different from what they look like, you know what I mean? And you're like, wow, like music is just a spectrum, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different types of people making different types of music. You can't box somebody in as just the white rapper, Eminem, or you know what I mean? Like it's crazy how a lot of people like tend to do that. It's
I mean, well, it's almost
mind-blowing.
as if it's just categorizing people in this way where, yeah, in some ways we're the same, in some ways we're different, but in the end we are all people and we are different from one another
100%.
all of the time. I mean, every snowflake looks different. Every drop of rain is not the same. I mean, there's differences within the world. No tree is the same as another tree. Like, we're all a process that continues to happen all of the time. And so to categorize people in such a way is almost, in my mind, like, unless you're identifying a pattern that is set in stone, you're doing something detrimental to humankind as a whole. Like, we are all different from one another. And I like what you said there about, like, everybody has a different... a lot of the time it isn't that where somebody sounds like what you thought they were going to sound like.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
even radio announcers, we all create our own versions of them in our head, and then we look at a picture of them and we're like, what? That guy's
Wow.
Asian?
Yeah, like wow, I never knew that. Like
Yeah, I mean, I get it all the time where people, if they don't hear my music before they see me, they will think I'm black. I don't know why it happens. But then I get the Eminem thing right afterwards. So it's like, oh, like, you know, like, and it's not everybody, I'll admit, it's not everybody, but I've heard it enough times to recognize that there is a pattern when it comes to at least, like I must rap in a way that people conventionally think of as black. I don't know why, but it's like something about going up in here and doing all of this makes me sound black to them. I don't know what it is, but it's like, in the end, in reality, it could have been anybody. It could have been anybody to pull that out of them. It's just you drawing on what you are and what your experience is. And I think people also, it's natural in the sense that we like to pick out patterns. We like to, oh, you're a white rapper. Oh, you're...
Put things in, like, to keep it organized, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's only human. Like, of course you want to fit... Like, you'll see that a lot where it's like they'll hear a new type of music and they'll ask immediately, what genre is this? Like, it doesn't have to be any genre. It could just be...
It can just be music.
Own thing. It's just music. But everybody wants to put it in some type of box. I mean... That's why hip-hop doesn't really even describe hip-hop anymore, because so much rap is not hip-hop. You would categorize that as something else. But it's also all just music. It's
all in all, it's just... It's literally an art expression, you know, people expressing, hopefully, themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's stories every once in a while of someone just writing things down because it sounds good, you know, but a majority of artists are probably really putting down what they lived through or what somebody close to them has lived through, and that's like the beauty of music, in my opinion, is just you're able to like see the world from another person's eyes through something that makes you dance and makes you think, and that's been culturally, like, for humans since the beginning of time, just something we come together with, you know. You listen to one song one time and you really like it, and you might meet a friend who likes that song too, and then all of a sudden now you're friends. You know what I mean? Like, there's music is just so big and it influences so much. I
think it's a universal language.
It really is. It really is a universal language, because there's songs from other countries that us Americans just absolutely fucking love. You know what I mean? And it's great too, because music can just bring people together like that probably would have never been brought together, or music can bring a whole country together. You know, the Star Spangled Banner, you know what I mean? The kids say the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning at school, you know, like those aren't really songs, but like they're kind of inherently songs, you know, like it's something that brings people together, you know. This is like pride in my country, you know, things like that. It's so cool to me to see like so many different things, and like being the artist to the art that brings people and things together. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy to
I've
me.
often found that through conversation I can communicate something, but if I were to communicate it in song, it would connect on so much more of a like spiritual level almost.
100%.
Like, people feel it in a different way than if I was to just say that in a sentence. You see that a lot where it's like, or you tap on whatever that cultural conscious is, and you use that like, yay, I would even argue that he just dropped that new song. I don't know if you heard it. It leaked. I think he dropped it officially. I'm not sure. But everybody's loving it. Everybody loves the new Ye song, no matter how you feel about Ye. You listen to his new song and you're like, he still got it.
Yeah. Ye is Ye
like,
for a reason.
Yeah, he's Ye for a reason. And so it's like that mentality that he has, when he puts that towards music, it's almost as if he's able to speak that musical language so fluently. Like, he just understands how sounds combine in a way that other people do not. I think that's something that for some people just will never happen. You can spend all your time trying to perfect it, but like a true musician is in that moment. They're hitting whatever that is. They're feeling that song. You can't replicate that. And I think that's what people identify with too, is you feel that person in there. That's what makes the music universal. It's speaking a whole different language, but you still feel the energy. You know what the energy is. It just makes sense.
Facts.
I mean, man, I think that's within all of us too. We all seek to identify with something that we do not understand.
Yep.
We
100%.
want to understand more. It's human nature. I mean, we don't have all the answers. And so when someone else does, when someone else can pick these pieces and put them into something that makes sense, it's almost like the puzzle's finally coming together just a little bit. I mean, that's why Eminem struck me at such an early age. Because I heard Eminem combine words in the way that he did and just thought, whoa, like that's what words can do.
Yeah, like, wow, he's definitely, very large inspiration for, I mean, I will say a lot of white rappers, there's not one white artist friend that I'm like really I'm very well friends with, or like can ask like who inspired you. Like Eminem's one of the first people that comes to your mind, you know what I mean? For a lot of white artists, and it's because, at least from my perspective and how I grew up, I didn't see a lot of white rappers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was not really a lot of white rappers doing anything with their music, or they just never really hit, or you know what I mean? Like I think there was like Lil White, like coincidentally, like Lil White, he named his name after his skin color, Lil White.
Before Eminem, I think the only big popular white rapping act that had happened was MC Hammer. Or was him or Vanilla Ice?
Vanilla Ice, for sure.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice, that's...
Oh, no, MC Hammer's not white. But Vanilla Ice,
yeah,
that's what I meant to say.
Vanilla Ice, it's crazy, because in Vanilla Ice, like, looking back now, a lot of people, like, give him props, but back then, he really wasn't liked.
Yeah.
Like, from what I've heard from people, is he was looked at as kind of corny. And, like, to each their own. Maybe there was a great listener base for Vanilla Ice, but, like, that was the only representation that people of that time had of a white rapper.
Yeah.
Because it's just not very common, you know what I mean?
I think that's what Dre saw in Eminem. He was like, you can change this whole game.
Yeah, he did. And he did, for sure. That's crazy.
But the thing is, like, Eminem, when he does that, he's still drawing from other influences that weren't white. So it's this complicated web of, like, he's taken from Nas and other people.
Nas...
Andre 3000?
Undoubtedly, in my opinion, Nas is one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a mic.
Really?
In my opinion.
I think that's almost undebatable. Like,
Nas
if you look at the public stratosphere, how people view rap, I think Nas is one of the longest lasting legacies. And he never has tarnished it. He's never done anything to make people question his lyricism.
And that's what I like about Nas, too. He stays out of the way, handles his business, and then puts out good content.
Still.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to still make music.
Not at all. He's, you know what I mean? And once you've made a certain amount of money from a song, you don't ever have to work again if you invest your things right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's doing it for the love of hip-hop now, and that's another thing I love, too, is just, I love seeing people love the culture. You know what I mean? And want to help benefit the culture in any way they can. And Nas is one of them people. He's signed multiple artists who personally just haven't done anything with their careers. Maybe they haven't even made his money back. You know what I mean? He did it just because. Like, he did it because he believed in them. He thought they would go far. They didn't go far. Oh, well.
And he actually must believe in the culture itself, too, at that point. Like, if you're willing to put people on, the people that you think are going to pioneer things, you must be genuinely invested in how things progress moving forward.
And especially that person, their craft. You must really like them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like, I just Nas in general is like a really large inspiration for me as well as Eminem for sure. Nas, that man is. You sit back and you listen to his music and you're like, wow, like he's revered as one of the greats for a reason. You know what I mean?
And it's just like Eminem in the sense that you realize things about words. You realize you can phrase things and string things along in a way that is bigger than itself. Like you allow it to be deeper than just the conversations you have with your friends as you're speaking with one another. Like I think that's lost on a lot of songwriters, is there's a magic to songwriting. There's something in there that you have to find, and the best creators show you that. They teach you this. But yet, you know, you still see simple shit get real popular. That's fine. Everything's got a lifespan, but the true legacy, I think, lives within the people that live through their art.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, man, I love me a great album. I love me a great song. When I hear something that really resonates with me, I just, you know, it's an indescribable feeling. I think that's the beauty of art, man. It's like you can't even put it to words exactly what it is. It's just right. There's just something correct in there that just feels correct. You don't want to change it. There's nothing that you can go back and fix. Like the best songs, Bohemian Rhapsody. Everybody loves that song for a reason.
Amazing song.
Yeah, it's a genius song. No matter how you look at it. It's just such an exercise in songwriting and song structure and melody. There's so much going on there that you could study that song for years and you'll still never get to the bottom of it.
Yep.
There's a magic in there.
Music in itself is just so great. You know, when you really think of what it can do for people, for even the economy, for the world in general, it's just like humans really wouldn't be shit without music. We wouldn't have, like, imagine a world without music. Like, it's almost not, you know, it's like, you can't conjure that up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so odd.
Yeah, and it sounds dead. I just imagine a very dead world.
Very dead world,
sense.
yeah.
100%. Like, we need it. It's essential. It's why it's funny to me when people, when there's lesser known artists or there's somebody who's just trying to figure it out and there's haters. Like, people want to hate on that. It's like, that is how they get to the point where they are your favorite musician. They have to screw up. They have to just, like, your favorite rappers probably made songs you don't like. You have to experiment. You have to do that. That's where you find your best things, is through that exploration. Music is not, there's not a science to it. There's no schematics that you can follow. I mean, the people who push things forward are the people that take risks, too.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
I think specifically in music, too, taking risks is one of the most important things to do, because if you don't, take the risk and drop the song you might not like, or sometimes at least, but like drop the song you might not like, or go on this trip to meet this person, maybe it might not work out, you know what I mean? But taking those risks can take you from one point in your music career to a whole different ball game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. There's a rap that I just did on TikTok. I've gained 1,000 followers a day for like the last 5 days. I was at 10K,
awesome.
Now I'm at 15K. It's blowing my mind.
That's awesome.
And the majority of it is off of a rap that I wrote. And I didn't think much of it. I just they had a beat where it was kind of old school sounding. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, the flow here has to be something like old. It has to be old school. It has to be something simple. Like I don't have to be all slickety dickety. Like, that's not what this is. And so I just start writing it. I wrote that thing probably in 5 or 10 minutes, and then I record it probably 2 or 3 takes. Go outside of my backyard, film a video where I'm spinning in circles, do my same process I always do, put the lyrics on top of it, do all that. And just by chance, this is the one that gets, now it's at 200,000 views over the last 2 weeks. And it's
so
just
crazy.
A totally random thing. I wasn't expecting that to be the one, but it made me realize, so maybe I need to tap on that a little bit more. Like, maybe that old school hip hop type of thing, people want that. People like that. And I can achieve that in a way that a lot of people can't is the other thing that made me realize I can do old school in a way that this guy can't do old school. A lot of people that are doing an old school sound are trying to emulate the way things used to sound.
Yep.
They're trying to be the Beastie Boys. They're trying to be whatever it was that they heard. They want to sound exactly like it, where it's like, no, you got to mix that with whatever you are. Like, make new old school.
Yeah,
Because that's what old school was. It was new when it came out.
Yep. It was all brand new. It wasn't considered old school, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And so it's like you're just tapping into that pocket rather than emulating what it used to be. I think that that is a big part of that magic. But I wouldn't have learned any of this if I didn't take the risk and
To put out that video.
or even just think to write the song that way. I could have just done my conventional approach where I just did whatever, a modern rap. But instead I thought, nah, I'm going to
Maybe I'll switch it up today.
Yeah. And the other thing was, I don't even think I was thinking old school in my brain. It's just what people said. Like, I was just writing a song, but it just turned out to be in the style of old school hip hop.
And that's the crazy thing about like content that you make too, is like once the people get their hands on it, it's now their content.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's so weird.
That's
They're
so
like,
true, because it's not what they said about it is not what I was thinking for the first.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy how content works too, because there's been multiple videos just of like content of that I've done or anything like that that you put it out not really thinking like much of it, you know, it's just like a regular video, you know, you're just putting it out there for the people who really do listen, you know,
Yeah.
a couple of people who might like it, or even a few hundred. That's, you know, a lower number than normal, you know. All of a sudden that motherfucker just boom, and you're like, what did I do? What is the difference between this video and another video I'm doing, or like what is the difference between this and the type of content I have coming on before?
Yeah.
And then really I think that once you find that like the type of content that works with the algorithms and stuff, I think it's important to market off of it for sure, especially when it comes to like TikTok and like Instagram Reels and like things like that, because right now those are the highest paying video platforms per view, per like, per view, per share. There's creator funds, there's Instagram Reel bonuses. It's insane the amount of money that can really be made from a 20-second video.
And the other part of it is, too, in that atmosphere, by doing those viral things, you're attracting people to the other things that you do. So maybe that guy who would have loved your song but would have never heard it, he saw that viral video of yours, and then he's the one that dived deep. And now you've gained 100 extra people off of those 200,000 views.
Yep.
Yeah, it might sound like
extra
a fraction.
people is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
A lot of listeners, you know
and
what I mean?
you replicate that a couple times, you've developed a fan base.
Yep.
Simple as that.
100%.
I think people have shame in it, though. They think like, oh, well, like with TikTok and Instagram Reels, you repost your viral videos. You need to be doing. If you're not already doing that, you need to do that. Like,
Yeah,
repost
100%.
them, because they could go more viral than the last time just based on the time and the hashtags that you use.
100%. 100%.
So, but it's like people have shame in that. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to put out the same thing over and over. It's like, you're not, though. You're putting out the same thing while you put out new things. So they just keep an eye on you. You're reminding them that you're still there. But it's hard to reconcile for some. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to just put anything out. I don't want to spam people. If they saw it already, they'll just scroll past it, or they'll like it again. That's how most people are.
I love that. I love that like, at least like nowadays, like I remember back in like 2015, the algorithms were like, okay, you've posted too much of yourself, maybe you should not do it. Nowadays, it really like encourages reposting the same content. Maybe not directly after you just posted the video.
Yeah.
But post the content, post a couple videos, and post the content again. You know, like they really push you really marketing yourself like in a way that seems like spam. It seems like you would be annoying, but any person who thinks you're annoying for promoting what you love and what you believe in shouldn't be on your team anyways.
That's true.
That's the way that I look at it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you'll see maybe even on Facebook, you know, you tag a bunch of people in a video or something like, hey, come check this out. One person's like, oh, yada, yada, whoop-de-whoop. Fuck you, don't tag me in this anymore. And you're like, wow, okay. Like, I won't, but you're only one person.
Yeah.
You're going to accumulate to one view. Maybe 10 if you like thought it was all right at one point, you know, but one person, your opinion of how it is, or you telling me not to tag you, it's not going to change me tagging all these people, and I'm going to keep reposting it because eventually, you never know. One person might see this video that you posted at this time, but they didn't, but they didn't see the one you posted at this time, or you know, like you could post a video your first time, not many people see it. You post it again, now all of a sudden it's blown up. Or maybe someone important seen it. You know what I mean? Like they didn't see it the first time because it just didn't come down their timeline. And now that you've posted it again, okay, now it's hitting their timeline.
And I think this goes back to what we were saying about connections even. Like you're forming connections every time you post that post.
Every time.
Even if it's the same 90% of people that saw it and it's a new 10%, that's a new 10%.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Those people matter. Because that's a new web that's starting to grow, and it's like it's all word of mouth. Word of mouth is the best advertisement. Now they're talking about you. So if you keep them talking about you, or if I'm talking about you, and all of a sudden dude over there knows what I'm talking about, it's like whoa. So this must be kind of a big thing then.
Yeah, it must be popping right now.
Must be popping. Yeah, it's all the idea that you're putting out. I think it's super duper important to stay in people's faces. It's difficult, but it's so important.
Nowadays, specifically, you really have to.
Yeah.
You really have to.
I want to do more live streaming stuff, but that's, oh my lord, it's a whole nother can of marbles. You got to go download the right stuff and make sure it all looks good. Twitch is a dead platform unless you got a fan base already.
Yep.
So, I mean, TikTok, I would do it on there, but the problem is you have to have a streaming key, and they don't give it out to just anybody. They make you have to either go through a company, or you have to just get lucky and have TikTok give it to you. Otherwise, you're streaming from your phone, which is fine. But, dude, like, OBS is the way to go.
Yeah, OBS is the way to go.
You've been doing those GTA streams.
Yeah, oh yeah. OBS is the way to go.
Yes, it is.
GTA changed my whole life. Like,
did it really?
It's crazy. I would never think a game that's been out since 2013 would still have that type of like pull and power, but it definitely changed my whole life. It's crazy.
How so though? How did it change things?
Well, like, okay, so initially, you know, I would be on YouTube and I'd watch like T Grizzly streams and stuff like that. You know, I'd be like, okay, this is really cool. Like, this is basically Sims on crack.
In what way? For people who don't know about T Grizzly's streams, could you describe them real quick?
The way that GTA RP in specific works is I gotta sit up a little bit, but the way that it works, like, so they take the original GTA platform, like the original base game of GTA, and a company called CFX.RE, they're a development company. They took the game and they make it to where you can play modded Grand Theft Auto online. With other players that are only allowed on those servers. So, like, it's not like you're going into regular GTA Online and modding things. You're in a whole entire different city than what other people can access.
Yeah, they used to do that with San Andreas back in the day.
It's still going on nowadays, low key. But like, so what they do is they'll do real life things. Like, there's McDonald's in the city. There's they got Walmart. They got like Popeye's chicken, and you can go, like, it's like you're living a life for a character, you know, and people create their own backstories, and it's like a whole community of people that come together. Some of those people stream, some of those people develop things for the server, such as cars, because you drive around in like real cars instead of like GTA type of cars, and they just basically take it and really turn it into like the most immersive experience you possibly can with GTA. And then there's like, so every single person can create their own server. It just takes a lot of promotion, a lot of time, a lot of effort. You have to learn how to develop things, and they teach you right on the website. So, like, an average person, it could take them 3 or 4 months to get a server going. What a server allows you to do is now you're able to buy scripts, and a script is like something you would put into the game, you know? Like, so like, say if you wanted these custom red pair of shoes right here, you could put them in GTA. You have to buy a script for it though. Certain players in these lobbies, they want to be able to have like a special car, or say they want to drive a Cadillac Escalade, the new 2021 in GTA. They can do that, but they have to buy a script. They have to buy it from you because you're the server owner. So you're basically essentially selling like a Fortnite pack or like a Warzone pack, and it's like in game. So like, and most of these servers have 200, 350 players on one GTA map, and there's no NPCs at all.
And they don't have any problems with lag or anything like that.
Some servers do for sure. It's trial and error for some people, but most of the time it runs really smooth, and like there's proximity chat, there's like rules that you have to abide by.
Really?
It's insane.
They implemented proximity
It is
chat.
insane, bro.
Wow.
Like the amount of like they really did a good job in making things immersive, especially certain server developers, because there's 24,000 servers. So like each server has its own different thing. You know what I mean? You could go into a red zone server, which is a server where you just 1v1 each other all day. That's all you do. You 1v1 each other with custom guns, like Modern Warfare guns in GTA.
Okay.
Then there's servers like they're called V menu, where it's like all of the content in the server is available to you at once. You can spawn it in whenever you want. There's no purchase housing. There's no, like, you don't have to spend any like in real life money on the game. It's there for you to use. So like that's what a majority of like content creators will get on, is those types of servers, so they can create their own content. There's QB-Core and ESX servers, and those are basically the same thing. It's like realistic RP. It's like where you walk into Popeyes, there's a real individual working at Popeyes, and you're like buying Popeyes for like, and it's like a real It's
And the other guy's whole thing is that he works at Popeyes.
Yeah, like, he's a Popeyes worker in a
So
video
he's
game.
been standing there for 3 hours just waiting for people to come in.
It is unreal. The amount of like, these people get so into RP. Like I've ran into situations like I'm sitting at night up in Sandy Shores, you know, like the northern part of the Los Santos map.
Yeah.
And an alien runs past me. I'm thinking like, and he's going, and you can like, it's proximity chat. So you hear him running away. I'm like, it's 3 a.m. I'm actually kind of creeped out right now. Like, is that a person? Like, is that an NPC or a player? It's a real player. He gets in my car. I'm like, okay, what's going on? He's like, bro, take me to the city. Get me out of here. I'm like, okay, I will. I take him out the city. I see an Umbrella Corporation truck following me.
There's a whole plot happening to you right now.
And you just become part of it. You know what I mean? Like it's literally like living IRL, but to the extremes.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
actually have the money to afford a Lamborghini, but you're still living life in this game.
It reminds me of LARPing, like
Yeah,
live action
yeah.
role playing, but
It's-
just a little bit deeper than that.
It's as close to like the best role playing you could possibly get ever.
Wow.
You can literally be anything you want in these servers.
And if you couldn't be, they could just make it so you can.
It's so crazy.
And it's a developer's dream too. If you're somebody who is good at coding and is good at these types of things,
It's
because
so
you
cool.
are the guy who's going to be able to sell new versions of code to these people. You're the one who's going to be able to get them the new Jordans. It's you.
Man, I'm telling you, it changed my life in like, honestly, in terms of finances, like, man,
So you've made money off of it
tons.
through
Too
doing
much.
what you were describing?
Yes and no. I moderate servers, so like I learned how to develop and code things and add scripts into servers, and I learned the rules to these servers like very, very well. So I had applied to be like to work at CFXRE, because there's like a thing on the bottom where it says you can apply, and it said that they were hiring people to go in and moderate servers, make sure they're following Twitch TOS, you know what I mean? Because like if you have people saying racist comments to people in servers, or
That's a risk for everybody.
Yeah, that's really a risk for everybody, including the platform that it has. So like I go into servers, I'll give it like a week, I'll play the server for a week, see if it's a bad server for the community, you know what I mean? There's 24,000 servers, so I'm sure I'm missing a few.
Wow.
But like,
So you're a cop.
kind of, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I honestly haven't found any servers that like where it's really bad, where like people are just calling each other crazy names
That's
and
interesting.
treating
So it's
each other
developed
disrespectful.
A positive community then.
Yeah, like overall a positive community. Of course, you're gonna have the very select few people who do bad things. You know what I mean? But a majority of the time, a lot of these servers are just regular people just wanting to live a regular life.
They're there for the same reason as
Yeah.
everybody else is.
It's so different, you know, because I'll be on these servers and like you said, there's a dude sitting at his computer for 3 hours, because this is a computer game. You can't play it on like Xbox or PlayStation but like he's sitting at his computer for 3 hours in his Popeyes outfit serving chicken to people. Like and he's happy. He's gonna go home in game, like, and get to his garage and go to sleep, and his character's gonna sleep in game. And it's like, what is going on? Like these guys are really in depth, and like the rules that they have in the servers, it just makes it so immersive. Like once you really get into playing the servers, you're like, wow, like this doesn't seem like a job. You know what I mean? It doesn't really seem like a job. Like I'm kind of having fun doing this, you know?
Yeah.
And then people make so much money streaming GTA RP. It's honestly the two top games right now are GTA RP and Minecraft.
Wow.
Yeah. So like
So you're teaching me a lot right now, because before I thought it was people just making their own servers on the regular GTA Online.
yeah, nope. It's a whole different like you have to actually own GTA.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. You pay for the regular game if you're gonna play it, you know, but you have to own GTA, and then after that you just download a separate software, and it like you upload the GTA game onto that software. It copies that, okay, this person actually owns GTA, you know, they're not trying to scam us. And then from there, you can literally create your own server. You can join other people's servers. And the in-depth, like the amount of what these people can do is unbelievable. And I personally know people who've made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of one server.
Wow.
And they just have, like, let's just say, for instance, on a great day, they have 150 players in their server on a great day. But if you think about it, like you said, if only 10% of those players all day spend $20,
Right.
you know what, 15 times 20 per day, that's more than what you're making at a regular job for sure.
Wow.
It's crazy.
And it's similar to a regular job in the
Yeah,
sense that
yeah.
you're just investing that amount of time. You can't even argue that it's not a job.
Yeah,
'cause
it
is.
really is. Yeah, oh yeah. Especially being a moderator on these servers, because a lot of like situations happen in RP where people feel it's not fair, or they'll get shot and they'll be like, "Oh, he killed me for no reason."
Just like
And-
real life.
Yeah, yeah. And you're sitting there listening to these two individuals who you've never met argue for like 30 minutes straight. So that like there's a work aspect to that for sure.
break it
but
up, break it
yeah,
up.
you're literally like that. You're like, bro, come on, you gotta argue. You know, like chill out. This is a video game, all in all. You know what I mean? And these people take this stuff that serious. Like they're not playing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like we got 1 foot in the metaverse already.
Yeah. It's so fucking cool, dude. Like
Yeah.
the amount of things you can do in RP, it really makes me think like the next Grand Theft Auto that they drop is gonna really be like a VR. Like the possibilities are endless with GTA. Like
Yeah.
and the fact that like a video, like I would have never thought, like I make music, you know what I mean? I do music videos, I make creator content, I do things like that. I would have never thought like a video game would change like my whole entire like life like that, you know, like to where I'm actually able to earn enough money to do what I'm doing and make music, and you know what I mean? Like maybe sometimes the first idea that you have isn't the best idea for now, you know what I mean? Like I'm thinking like in the future, I wanna start streaming. You know what I mean? I'm just not I don't have a lot of knowledge on that. I don't know what I would need to do all that. But like GTA RP right now is really where it is to make a lot of really good passive income, especially if you have a fan base. If you're like an artist with a fan base, you could get your fans in that server and they could buy virtual concerts for your shows in that server.
Really?
You can code you could code a whole concert venue where people come in and pay you IRL money to be a part of. Wow. There's things called whitelisted servers, which is what I usually moderate over, and it's you have to pay to be in the server. So people know you're serious when you enter that server. So like T Grizzly, he has Grizzly World. That's his server, Grizzly World RP. You have to pay $200 to even get into the server.
Okay.
And then after that, there's donation items where it's like donation guns, where you have to make a donation to get the gun. There's donation cars, like there's priority queue, where like most of the time you'll pay the $200 to get into the server, but now there's 38 people sitting in the queue. You want to pay an extra $20 to get bumped up in the line?
Oh.
Dude, it's
And
what
of course
they've done.
they do. Of course they pay.
There's people who argue about who has more money in real life on GTA.
Yeah.
And then they go buy things to prove that they have more money than the other. I've seen it all, bro. I've really seen it all. Like you're broke, bitch. I'll buy 5 donation cars right now. I'm thinking in my head, like, please do. Please do. Like, yes, I believe you're not broke. Show me you're not broke. I love it. Like, it's crazy.
And in a way, it's not real. Like,
Yeah.
they are buying the thing.
Yeah.
They do own it in the game. It's like NFTs in a sense. Like, that still has a real life value.
Yeah.
When they bought that and they showed you, they are flexing on you.
Yeah.
That flex is not any less of a flex than if they bought a real car and showed you that real car.
It's so
Wow.
crazy.
That is just such an interesting. I never thought about it like that. I've always wondered why GTA invested so much in online. I wonder when all this started, when it really started to pick up.
CFXRE was founded in 2015, I believe, but it really started picking up like in around 2018. There's been like tons of like regular RP content and things like that like beforehand, but really 2018 is when people actually started to see some value in it, because beforehand you're thinking like, oh, these are just some people playing GTA. I mean, oh, they got a couple of mods, they're not making no money off of it, you know. But like now people are like, okay, now I can kind of, they see people like T Grizzly streaming it and they're like, how do I make money off of this, you know? T Grizzly's making $250,000 a month off of this stuff. How do I do that, you know? And
My God.
And T Grizzly is just a person who's known for doing it. I know a 17-year-old kid who makes $140,000 a month. Wow. He is 17.
And it's all about the hustle. It's all about understanding where you're at and knowing where the opportunities are, right? Like, once you're in there, it's who do I talk to? What do I sell? Like, how do I make this a reputable revenue stream? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's crazy that people have that and you don't even know about it. You could be hanging out next to this one guy who says he plays GTA all day, and you're thinking, what a loser. Meanwhile, this guy's got like fucking 3 times your bank account.
And it's crazy because like I mentioned, this 17-year-old bro, like I never knew he was 17. I never like spoke to him before. You know what I mean? He's like, bro, like, I'm the owner of this, like the server, one of the servers I was moderating. He's like, I'm the owner of this server, bro. And look at my bank account. You know, he showed me, like, he's like, dude, like, I make this passively every month. Like, I moved my mom out of her house, got myself a car that I don't drive because I haven't got my license yet. I'm like, dude, like, if somebody like this is able to do it, who's saying anybody can't? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if you can get, like, more so if you can get, like, if you're a music artist or you're a TV show host, or if you have some sort of notability and you have fans that really would like to try and see you in game, quote unquote, it's up. Like,
Yeah.
T Grizzly has people going into his server just to talk to him. I'm sure that would get quite annoying after a while, but like, he literally has people who will pay $200 to join his server and buy the GTA game for PC just to talk to him.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about it. Like, they make bands daily.
Wow.
Daily.
Wow, that's so genius. That's such a great idea. I mean, because not only are you like making your shit multimedia, like you're expanding it beyond whatever the art form originally was, but it's a whole other revenue stream that's just waiting right there.
And
of course, he's investing time into it, but you can't say that that's not paying him back. I mean, he might make more money doing that than making music at the moment.
No, he does. He's publicly stated it too many times. It's a weird slippery slope because I'm sure he loves music, just like I love music. I don't want to quit music. I wouldn't quit music, you know.
Yeah.
But when something else is so easy to make money from, and that's not the only way you could make money from RP. You can make money from RP streaming it, solely streaming it. You don't have to sell any packs like in-game. You don't have to sell like priority listing or getting entered into the server. You don't even have to do any of that. You could just be a regular person in the server, and all of a sudden people mess with your role play.
Yeah.
And now everybody's watching your content now. Yeah. And now you have a revenue stream from Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat. You know, you have Instagram Reels. You now have a revenue stream because it's not only just that, it's content now.
And it expands those connections.
You're
People
reacting
will find
like
you through that.
It's unreal. I have like my music in multiple servers. Like, people can in real time play my music videos in the server, on the TV in the server,
Really?
or like off of their phone in the server. It is the coolest stuff ever. Like, the way that they make this, it's unreal. Like,
You were able to implement music videos into this?
it is, dude. I wish I could show you this because, like, when we're done, I'm gonna show you some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
dude. Because
it's really
honestly,
fucking cool.
this sounds like something I really ought to tap into.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I got a gaming PC right in front of us.
Oh yeah,
Like this is just waiting for me.
I think you of all people specifically too would love it.
I think I would be able to. I get immersed in things. Like I got an addictive personality.
That's
like,
what I'm
if
saying,
If I dive
bro.
into this,
Look, if the character you bring to RP is really immersive, that's like another thing. Like people want that. Like
Yeah.
if you don't speak out of character while you're in game, if you're so into the character you just won't slip up, people are like, wow. This guy is really good at what he does. Like, I remember there was a dude role-playing as Better Call Saul.
he was
And
Saul Goodman.
He was Saul Goodman the whole time.
Oh, boy.
You could not break his character. I was like, hey bro, like what's your name IRL? He's like, Saul. And you're like you just can't, you can't break his character. Like, it's so crazy.
That is great.
And the interactions that you have like with these real people who may or may not have a character, it's so crazy. Like, these are real life interactions. You're just doing it in a video game. You're talking to real people.
It makes me question reality just thinking about it. Because how real is that? That's just as real as real life. If you're having an interaction with another person.
It's so crazy.
The whole fast food guy thing is just hilarious to even think about too. Like that guy really is in there.
That's
all
what
day.
he does. There's people who do trucking jobs in the servers.
I've seen
They'll just ride
I saw
around
a
in
cop
trucks.
one once, and I didn't know what it was until we had just had this conversation. I was like, "Is this just a modded version of single player?" But then he was talking to the guy he was arresting, so I was so confused.
All right, so like the cops, all like I mentioned, there's no NPCs in a majority of servers, and any NPCs that there are, they really don't add any play value. They're not. It's not like even noticeable that there's NPCs. So like, all of the cops are real players.
And so when they get there, that's like, it's not like they spawned in like in the game.
They
It's
caught
like
you.
They
You did
caught
something.
you.
Yeah, you did something. So like, they're pulling you over for a reason.
And you're actually getting pulled over.
Yeah,
You have to stop the car.
And another, like, there's a lot of rules like against certain things. Like in real life, you wouldn't just run from cops like you would in regular GTA Online. You want to give that cop content. Because he's being a cop in the server, he wants to also get content.
Right.
He wants to have role play quality. You know what I mean? Everybody wants quality role play when they're in those types of things. They want a good scene, So like, you got to pull over for the cop, and the cop will write you your ticket and get out of there. It's not that big of a deal because it's on just a video game. But it's like, it's the idea of like, oh shit, I was going 180 on a regular road. This cop caught me and I got let go. Like, thank God. And like, going to jail in these servers, like, it's real jail. You go to an actual penitentiary. You go to a real cell. You're walking around the real yard. There's people in there with you
And
who are
there's
there for
jail
reasons.
culture in the server.
It's so crazy.
Do they have cigarettes as a form of currency in the jail? Because if not, I propose that. I think that would be a great idea.
That would be really cool. I don't think that they do, but that would be really cool.
That's what happens in real life.
Oh, you're not wrong. They have like everything. Like, you can smoke marijuana like in the servers and pass the joint to your friends. like you can drink whiskey, like real whiskey, like Casamigos, or not Casamigos is a whiskey, but you get the point. Like,
right.
Real alcohol. You can like buy real foods. You can drink Monsters, drink water bottles. Like, it's so crazy how in depth they get. Like, the phone that you use in the server is a real iPhone. Like, wow. They have this same like setup, and you click on the screen and it pops up and it's the home screen. You got Apple Music, Maps, like it's crazy.
So they even reprogram that whole part of the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can airdrop your number to other players.
Wow.
Unreal.
Your in-game number and your real life number?
No,
Or
just your in-game.
Still though, that would break the immersion if it was your real life number.
You can like FaceTime other players and stuff.
You can FaceTime them.
Dude.
Wow.
I know. I have a good idea that when you get off of this, or like when we're done doing what we're doing, you know what I mean? You're gonna go. In my opinion, I would watch a T Grizzly stream.
Yeah.
Skip past the parts where he's just kind of in his head, like doing random things around his computer. Because I'm sure during a 2-3 hour stream, there's gonna be time you can't be immersed the whole time. But like, watch what he does in the server and what he's able to do. You're gonna be like, wow, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that these developers have put into this is like in my personal opinion, GTA RP is probably the best game that's ever came out.
Wow.
That's how like,
And it's only an evolution upon another game.
It's not like a single game in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
That is crazy. And what's crazy to me too is the culture that has thrived around it. I mean, it's a miracle that Rockstar didn't crush it early or anything like that. There was a big wave of them getting rid of mods about a year ago with they got rid of, there was a giant map that was going to put all the Rockstar maps on one map, and they crushed it. They said you can't do that, it's copyright infringement. I think it's more of Take-Two's decision than Rockstar's. But, you know, maybe it's because it's such a good revenue stream for them. I mean, you have to imagine they are making tons of bank off it, too. They're selling their game off of this one concept that they didn't even create. It's just other people modifying their game.
Bro, in some RP servers, you can fly to Vice City, and you can fly to
so they do
Liberty
have
City.
that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Wow. You can fly to... I was in a city the other day moderating it, and you can fly into San Fierro, like in San Andreas. You can fly into Baltimore, Cayo Perico, Miami, which is the Vice City map, New York, which would be the Liberty City map, in San Francisco. They even had the Golden Gate Bridge. Wow. I was thinking like... The immersion that they do is just so crazy. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much that they do. It's like, how do you even think of that, you know?
Yeah. It's respectable even because it reminds me of what Rockstar does with their games.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same philosophy of, like, how can we make this the most immersive experience possible? Like, oh, I see that people might want this, so let's just program that in. You know, like, that would be a good idea, so let's spend 10 hours programming it. And all it is like a flip-flop actually flip-flopping. Like, things like that.
It's so fucking cool.
The fact that you can pass a joint blows my mind.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
It's so cool. It's so cool.
I mean,
And like the houses in the servers are all real. Like, you can go into them. Like, there's no more loading, or there's no houses that don't load.
Really?
It's so cool. Like,
So it's almost like they've even revolutionized the tech that was in the original game in that way.
They basically took what happened in 2013 when they dropped it with the Xbox One version, you know, and or I think 2015, they took that version because that was the version that they had to take. And
wow.
Me even talking about it is barely doing it justice. It's so much fun. Like, I don't do much else right now.
Yeah.
I eat my food, handle my music work, watch some TV. I'm on RP making money half of the day. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm doing, like, a majority of my time.
Well, it's a job, though.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's like, it's a job that doesn't feel like a job, though, too. You know what I mean? And that's, like, the best thing about it, low-key. Like, that's really, like, I mean, working at Kmart would be way worse. You know what I mean? Like, doing things that actually take physical strain off you is way worse. I mean, you got a mental strain because hearing kids yell at each other, but...
And they're serious.
Yeah, they're mad.
100% for real.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no irony in it. They are legitimately upset that you hit their car.
Yeah. I need your fucking insurance. You're like, bro, chill out.
They ask
like,
for insurance. Is there insurance on here?
Yeah, health insurance.
Oh, my God.
It gets crazy.
Bro, it's like everything that you think of, somebody else probably already thought of and coded it.
Yeah.
Wow.
They really, like, they're making a lot of money off of GTA.
Wow.
A lot. And the good, like, for me, being a car guy, being someone who really likes cars, I'm really into them. All of the cars are real cars. You're driving a Ford Focus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not driving a random GTA generated car that looks similar.
They'll call it like Ford Fiesta or something.
Yeah. Like, it's like a real Ford car with the actual logos and the actual interior. It's so cool, you know? Like, they do so much to it.
It makes it feel almost more relatable in that sense. And that's something that could only be achieved through a modified version of a game. The game doesn't have the licenses to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's why they, like, because they had to, you would assume they would have to spend a bunch of money from all these different manufacturers. But it's like, in my mind, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. You mean, why wouldn't they allow it to happen, or
why wouldn't they buy the licenses? You know, I'm sure they do cost a lot, but GTA is the highest grossing game like ever. I think it's one of the highest grossing games ever.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure that wouldn't put a dent in the however many billions of dollars you've made off of this game
Yeah.
to spend $100 million on give each developer $1 million for a license.
I bet you could even leverage the fact that it's such a popular game and get a great deal out of it.
Oh yeah,
Like, just
yeah.
say, yo, I'm basically
putting your
paying
car in
you
GTA.
for advertising.
Yeah, like your car is getting advertised. People are
Yeah.
going to want to buy this from my game.
Matter of
Put
fact,
it
we
in there.
just saw that with the new Warzone. They have a certain Jeep, I think, in the game. The
They
Jeep
do?
Wrangler. Yeah.
Oh, that's
And it
fire.
just says straight up Jeep Wrangler.
That's so fire.
But you know that Jeep probably paid them to be in the game,
That
not
is
the other
so
way
fire.
around.
I never knew that Call of Duty actually, because PUBG was doing that for a long time. They had like Toyotas in their game. I was like, wow, like this is it's revolutionary in terms of like public gaming, you know, because not a majority of the time, like unless you're playing a racing game, you're not driving real cars. You know, it's just
Yeah.
a funny made up car name that looks like the real car. You know what it is, but they didn't put the logo on it. Like,
Yeah.
like wow.
But if it's the real one, it's even cooler.
Way cooler. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Well, we could keep going forever. I only asked you probably 5 of my questions. So I'd love to have you on again so we can run through 5 more of them within 3 hours.
Of course. 3 hours.
Yeah, this was a great podcast, though.
Great. I love talking to you, man. You definitely keep the conversation going. Like it's not hard to talk to you. You know what I mean? Like some people, it's very hard to keep a conversation going for a long time, but you keep it going, and that's a great thing to have. It's a great part of your personality.
I appreciate that. I don't even do it on purpose. I think it's just like, as people say things, I'll connect it to another thing, and it naturally strings things along.
That's awesome.
It's a tip for anybody. I mean, if anybody out here is trying to get better at conversations or talking with people, literally just pick up on what they're saying. Don't over talk about yourself, but just allow that conversation to flow in the way that's
Yep.
going to move things forward. Don't get stuck on one thing and then stay there or try to keep going back to the same subject. If the conversation went past that, allow it to keep moving. But
Yep.
these are all things you learn from experience. I appreciate you saying that, man, because I mean, again, I'm not trying. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't at all.
You're just being yourself, man. And
Yeah.
That's really like the best, the best thing for it is you're just being yourself, and things will align. You know what I mean? Being yourself, things will align. You'll have a lot more of like a genuine audience, genuine people coming onto your show. It'll just show, you know what I mean? The genuineness and the being yourself, like not acting a certain way or being a certain way, like it'll help you way more in the long run, you know?
Yeah. We'll close this interview with the motivational quote then. I heard it from Jim Carrey. He was talking about, it was in the Andy Kaufman documentary, actually, where he played him, and he said that he used to go to bed before performing and wonder, what is it that the people want to see? He just felt like he wasn't achieving what he wanted to do on stage. It's like, what do people really want to see on that stage? And one day he just realized they want to see the guy without a worry in the world. They want to see the guy that doesn't have that second guessing, that doesn't have that, I think people see right through that. They see through you guessing, you thinking to yourself, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or, oh, that wasn't cool. Like, don't even go that direction with those thoughts. Just be whatever you genuinely are, and that's what's going to speak to people, Don't...
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
And it's like exactly what you're saying, that is what's going to win in the end, is that reality, that realness that you bring to the table, no matter what it is. Everybody has their own version of it, but nobody is seeking to feel out of place. So when you are the person that isn't out of place, when you're the guy that's always on that point, I think that that's what people really grow to love and connect with. So, but it's like, that the process of being that is something that you can't do while trying to do it. You just have to be yourself. That's the whole catch of it, is if you're trying too hard to do it, you're not doing it. So you have to master it. It's easier done than said.
Yeah.
Boom. Boom. So
Definitely
thank you for being
easier
here,
done.
Sparrow.
I appreciate you, and thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to show everybody a different side of me that they might not have seen before.
Yeah. And they'll see a whole nother side next time.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'll be here.
Folks, thank you for sticking around. If you watched this whole thing, you're a psychopath, and I appreciate you for it. If you like what we do, Make sure you follow Sparrow, Sparrow810. Check out his GTA RP. You don't stream it just yet, but you do post clips.
No, yeah. I will be streaming it soon, but I do post clips on my social media. I haven't posted a lot, like, in terms of directly on my pages, but, like, I'll post reels and, like, things on my story, and it just keeps you, like, updated and seeing kind of what I'm doing in the RP world, you know?
Yeah.
And super soon, though, I will start to be able to stream it and get my stream up. And on all of my social platforms, it'll just be Sparrow Official 810. That's, like, my handle for everything. So if you want to find me, just type in Sparrow Official 810. If I'm on the platform, you'll see me pop up.
Hey, and it's Ruse Official on this side. We aren't that far apart, my friend.
Oh yeah. I think the official just adds some sort of like a stamp, you know, like, okay, this is me.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Ruse is never available by itself, so that's where Ruse Official came from for me. I was like, oh, because it'll always be some dude with like 2 posts and he hasn't posted in 6 years.
Yeah, you're like, damn.
I bet there's an original Sparrow, somebody who's just named Sparrow,
Yep.
and he's totally lame.
Lame. They're not me. I'm the only
If you look
one.
up at Sparrow, he's not cool. He's not as cool as this guy.
Official. Gotta add the official.
So, you know, like, you just reignited the coolness of Official for me. You know what?
Oh, yeah.
I think it is cool now.
Oh, yeah.
Because it adds that stamp of approval.
Yep.
You're not watching Ruse. You're watching the official Ruse. You're getting the one and only. It's like my very own blue check mark, because nowadays you can just buy one. So, I mean, who cares? Now you gotta let them know you're official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
If you see Ruse blue check mark, that ain't me.
That ain't me.
Ruse Official is me. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate every single person that spends any time viewing anything that I've ever done. The whole point is that I'm trying to create something inside of you, all right? It's about something bigger than me. That's what all art is. It's about igniting a flame within one another. So, thank you so much for being here. Go do something even cooler yourself. Ruse Radio, clocking out.